podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello, and welcome to season 21, episode 18 of Happy Jack's RPG podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
My name is Gina.
Your mic is off.
And it's off. My name is Gina.
Her name's Gina.
Her name is Gina.
There you go.
My name is Gina.
Excellence.
I always press the wrong little button.
That's okay.
In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG podcast, Sam asks for legacy campaign advice. Sam is from Lakewood. Oh. Is that Lakewood, California? Or I'm sure there's Lakewoods in almost every state.
Yeah. I bet there is. There has to be.
Ben from Texas writes in about tainting the player experience. And Isaac from Texas.
It's not allowed to be funny anymore, Stu. It's not funny.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's totally funny.
I figured out why, and I'll talk about it in a minute.
Oh, cool.
Isaac from Texas sends us a tale of triumph and learning. But first, if you would like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter, happyjacksrpg, all one word, and Instagram, happyjacksrpg, all one word, and the Facebooks, happyjacksrpg, all one word. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can watch it at happyjacks.org/live. We stream the show at 7 p.m. on Pacific time on Friday evenings. Also, if you are so inclined and would like to leave a review for us on iTunes or whatever podcast distribution service you have, we would totally appreciate it.
We would.
Especially if it's a good review.
Yeah.
But even if it's a bad one, you can leave those too.
Yeah.
Or AP.
But also email us if you have feedback on the show.
Yeah.
We always want feedback on the show.
Yes.
And also our APs. If you follow our AP feed and you would like to leave a review for the AP feed, we would love that as well.
Yeah.
And the AP feed is chock full of stuff right now. We're putting out, like 3 a week, I think?
Something like that. 3 or 4 games
Sometimes
a week.
4, yeah.
And that's a separate feed, so don't forget that those are 2 different reviews to leave on iTunes or Stitcher or TalkUp or whatever thing you use.
Whatever you use.
Overcast.
Yeah. If you're highly
Your Roku
satisfied
box?
with your service.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you are.
And there you go. And thank you for your service.
Yes.
Oh, also, if we're at the Renaissance Fair, we're at what, weekend 6? 5?
3 more.
5.
You're
We're at
the
weekend
only
5.
one who
right?
does it, so we don't know.
We're at weekend 5.
Yeah.
The Renaissance Fair is coming up this weekend. We'll be at Rogues Reef Stage at least 3 times, maybe 4. We're not sure. I think the schedule says 4, but who knows? Things change.
They do.
We're also waiting for our 4th.
Yeah.
We're not sure if he's going to be here.
No.
There's a
Yeah,
space.
Tappy was signed up and scheduled.
Yeah.
Yes. He might show up at 8.
He might have forgotten from...
Because we've started the show at 8 o'clock for forever.
Years.
Yeah, but he's been here on the show since we started
Multiple
at 7.
times.
Yeah, but he has a habit that extends years.
That's true. He's also just Tappy.
He's happy.
Yeah. Legacy campaign advice from Sam from Lakewood, or Lakewood. Hi, all.
Hi.
I'm looking for some advice on putting together a new campaign for my Friday crew. Probably my favorite campaign ever ended a year ago. It was a Rogue Trader 40k RPG.
Tappy needs to be here.
It lasted almost 2 years and ended with the party doing a blind jump into the warp to escape an enemy fleet in hot pursuit, and just so happened to take place exactly as the universe was being ripped in half by the physical and psychic barrier, the Great Rift, for those of you up on your 40k lore, which I am, but not from the RPGs, but from the cursed miniatures game. Neither the PCs nor players, nor I, the GM, frankly, had any idea what would happen next to the party /ship/evacuated planet next, leaving this an open-ended question that was suitably grim and dark, as it's supposed to be, grim and dark. It was pretty badass. It was a pretty badass finish, and everyone was happy with it. Excellent. So now the new 40k RPG line is being released this summer. I did not realize it was coming out that soon. I have heard about this. It's a company I've not heard of. I cannot remember the name of it. Maybe the chat.
The new which one?
They're
Warhammer?
What is the name of the company?
Wait, are you talking about the Warhammer RPG? It's Cubicle 7.
That's
or are
the
you
new
talking
one?
about? Are you talking about the miniatures game or the RPG?
Well, the miniatures game is done by
Fantasy Flight? No.
No.
I can't
They
remember.
used to.
I can't remember the name of the
I
company.
feel like I've heard you
Totally drawing
talk
a
about
blank.
it a lot. And
I have talked about it a lot. Anyway,
Yeah.
they've given the license to this new RPG company that it wasn't Cube 7 because
Okay.
I know of Cube 7. It was a company I've not heard of before, and they're
Games Workshop?
Games Workshop did
Games Workshop
Warhammer.
invented Warhammer.
Yes. They invented Warhammer.
They pretty much did, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They're
That's
out of
them.
the UK. Yeah.
And they've been licensing it out to various people
Yes.
to make the RPGs
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And so this new company, I listen to. There's a Warhammer 40K podcast I listen to occasionally. Independent Character, I think is the name of the show. And they had an interview with one of the guys, like the line editor or something, from this new company, and they talked about how they're building it. And they're going to basically do like the core book and then the extra stuff books.
Oh, cool.
Rather than here is Rogue Trader, here is whatever the Inquisition one was. I can't remember what it was called.
I was trying to see if the interwebs would tell us.
I can't remember.
Yeah, what was that one?
I can't remember. Anyway,
I don't know.
they're going to have one core book that has all of the rules and stuff in it, and then they'll have separate books for the different types of campaigns you might want to run. And they're also talking about, apparently, at least according to the interview that I listened to, they're going to be including some of the alien races as well.
Nice.
And alien races in Warhammer are very alien. Because there's like the Tyranid, which are like these sort of like psychic insect things. And then there's the Eldar, and
is it Wrath and Glory from Ulysses North America?
that doesn't sound familiar, but that
Okay.
might be. That could be. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
I'm interested to look at it because it's like they totally like scrapped everything that's been done before, and they're like, we're going to.
Interesting.
So I'm interested to
It's
look
like
at
a
it.
fresh start.
Yes. So now the new 40K RPG line is being released this summer, and I want to start a new game, and I kind of want to include elements from the last game in the new one. I just don't know how much I should include or how to appropriately integrate legacy campaign aspects into the new adventures. The previous campaign left behind a huge amount of plot hooks, powerful artifacts, vast pirate fleets, an orc wog, which is orc for warband, I suppose, a Tyranid invasion, psychic xenomorphs, a very angry noblewoman who was the previous captain's grandmother, and a whole other megaship of beloved NPCs and PCs sent away from the front lines for safety, etc. I want to have some of this carry over, but I don't want to overdo it. And I also don't know how much of the core mystery of the finale to solve right out. While not wanting to rob players of their previous characters by having them make choices they would disagree with, well, no, there's supposed to be a comma there. That's not a new sentence. So I, rather than just rereading it, just pretend I changed the inflection. So I guess I just generally want advice on how to carry forward new campaigns that are close to the sandbox of the old campaign. How do you balance the old and the new properly? Thanks, Sam from Lakewood. My first question I have is this the same players? If it's
Yeah.
the same players, then go ahead with your plans. They're probably going to dig it. If it's new
Yeah.
players, it's going to be like, but we want to be the heroes of the game, not the
Yeah.
people of vast legend.
Right.
That would be the first thing. And it kind of sounds like it's the same people, so I'm going to kind of assume that. But if it isn't, if it's an entirely different group of people, they're not invested with those characters, and they're not going to have any connection with them. So what happened to them isn't probably going to be very interesting.
No,
to
that's
them.
what I was thinking. The exact same thing. Like depending on the mix of the people at the table, it's like you have a wank-o-meter, and it's like how much are you gonna have your wank fest to the original thing, where you're just like, oh my god, wink, wink,
This is
nod,
the best
nod.
thing.
Yeah, because like you said, if
Wink
there's
Fest is what you said.
yeah.
What did you think?
No, I said wank fest.
Oh,
Oh,
wank
did
fest?
oh
You
yeah,
said
that's what
wank
I
no,
thought.
I thought you were. I thought you were
like
going.
it's
Gina.
like it's
Yeah.
like masturbatory. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
pleasing
the wank
yourself about
fest.
how wonderful you
Yeah.
are. Absolutely.
Her
Yeah.
northern Midwestern accent was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
No,
Colored.
I have a mashup of Northern Midwestern and Californian, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of obscene.
But I love Wankfest. That's like the best term
Yeah.
for that. It's a Wankfest.
It's a wink fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, wank
Nudge, nudge.
fest. Thoughts and prayers,
Yeah.
or whatever they call that. Yeah,
Wankfest. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we've definitely run into this a couple times with our L5R games specifically, because we've had now 3 different generations in this same world, in this same family. And it's one of those things, it's like we are super into it, but there's also that you want to break away from that too. Like it's like a great thing to have like kind of poke its head up sometimes. Like when we started this most recent one, Dissension, like it was great the homage to our old campaign with like the swords that you did at the beginning of it.
That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that was nice because it's like that is the past. It's cool. And like sometimes we kind of reminisce about it and there's moments where it can come up. But it's great to not be in that particular game again. It's nice to play a new game with new characters that are completely different, that don't know all the baggage from that.
Right.
So it's nice to have that fresh start too.
And that is also a good opportunity for the new characters, because the old characters were kind of fuck ups.
Well,
We were amazing.
No,
and
you
even
weren't.
if they weren't,
You're amazing.
to Kimmy's point, you could have all the same characters, which basically 3 out of the 4 in the L5R games, so just Tyler's missing.
Right.
But you want to kind of make legends with your new characters.
Absolutely.
So having kind of the wink, homage moments to the old characters, like, oh, hey, we made that happen. Or that's a guy we used to know. Or it's a family of...
Oh, that's the grandson of
It's
someone.
super cool, but even if you do that too much, I think it loses its... I don't know, its majesty even for the people, because it's just like, okay, yeah, no, we know. We played that game too.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
I think in this kind of situation, I think I would really want to like slow roll the reveals on what happened to each, what happened to the characters. Obviously, that's a huge. I just lost the word, and I do it
Legacy?
all the time. No. Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's a huge cliffhanger. It's like we're going to dive into this rift.
Yep.
And those rifts, there's nothing but bad shit there. Nothing but bad shit there. That's where all the demons come from and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they pervert the humanity, and that's where all the chaos guys come from. And it's just bad shit. Bad choice. Bad decision on their part. But it's like, oh, we're going to die anyway. Let's just go this way because who knows.
Right.
So one of the things that I think you might want to do is talk to the players individually. If it's the same group, again, I'm kind of going under that assumption, and ask them one-on-one and tell them this conversation needs to be only between you and me. What happened to your character? You went into the rift.
Okay.
You get separated or something. What did you encounter? What happened to you? And if you've got players who are cool with the fact that it had this huge cliffhanger ending that's very dark, some of them will say, "Oh, I was perverted by the evil inside the rift, and I'm now the captain of a chaos terminator unit or something like that."
That'd
I mean, that'd be
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then just take those things and take notes on that stuff. And when you have a moment when you can introduce, maybe not even the PC turned NPC, but maybe just the remnants of them, or they come across some information about so-and-so and what may have happened.
Yeah.
And the one guy will know will know is the guy who fed you that information, the one player who was that player's character, that character's player. But the other ones won't. So I think if you want to slow roll the stuff that way, that's the way I think I would do it, is ask the players. And you're right, you don't want to take, okay, the game ended, that's awesome, and you don't want to go ahead and make a left turn with what the characters would do in certain circumstances. But then again, they're also in the rift, and their will may no longer be their own.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm curious because Rogue Trader is a class of character in the 40K universe, right? Or in that world, like the minis game, right? Rogue. Because there's also an RPG game. But
I do not recall there being a faction called Rogue Trader.
Okay.
There might be. I don't know all of them. But at least in 8th edition, I'm not recalling that.
Because I was just looking again, and he's talking about the 40K RPG. And there was because and they obviously were playing I think, an RPG and not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely an
yeah.
RPG.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know. I don't know. That's interesting because I know the new Warhammer is coming out. In fact, it was just Thursday that it was Cubicle 7 has the rights to Warhammer 4E, the role-playing game. So not necessarily Rogue Trader or Splinter stuff from the original Warhammer, but the new core book is coming out in June and July. So I'm wondering if he's talking about that, because I just did a quick Google search, and I don't know if anybody in the chat room gave us info like they always do. But I would assume there are different, there's a different campaign setting, I guess I was going to say.
Well, see, they're coming out with basically a core book, and I think then they're going to come out with.
Yes.
It's not really setting books, but I guess it's
No.
kind of like setting books, I guess. But and it's like if you want to play a Rogue Trader game, there'll be an expansion for that. If you want to play a Inquisitor game, here's one for that, or the whatever Mechanicum, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Mysterium Mechanicum. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm sure if Sam is familiar with Warhammer anyway, he's going to be able to kind of extrapolate what he needs for the kind of game he wants anyway from the core book that comes out.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
It looks like Ulysses is the name of the company that's putting it out. Is that correct?
Okay, so there is a 40K?
Yeah,
coming out?
and they
Okay.
said Cubicle 7
It's
is
called-
Warhammer Fantasy.
Yes. No, that's why I was confused, because I'm like, so
If
there's
this, I think this is it.
okay.
See, when designing combat rules for Wrath and Glory, I think this is it, and it's called. What's his name was right. It's called Wrath and Glory is the name of the.
Oh,
and
awesome.
from what I heard on that podcast, it's going to be like a core book, and then
The Space Marine book.
Okay.
I think maybe. Wait, sorry.
they were talking it was going to include all of the basic game
Yeah.
rules, and then it would include a bunch of different
Oh,
character
cool.
types.
See, I didn't even know about that. That's cool.
I think one of the things that, I mean, we haven't explicitly said it. I think, Stu, you were implying it with, like, what happened to your last characters. Is I would suggest having some time have passed from, when the, whatever happened. And, like, our first comeback to the L5R game and the Inukai, we did, like,
two generations
Two
or
generations.
something?
We were,
Yeah.
like, the grandchildren era,
Right.
I think. And I think that was a great amount of time. Like some of the people, if you want to include some of the characters you still had, that's far enough away
Sure.
that like some of them can still be alive in their older age or
Right.
whatever. Like that pissed off noblewoman could still be in power, possibly things like that.
Well, in the Warhammer universe,
Well, yeah,
if
that's
you're
true.
wealthy and powerful enough, you can
You can
last a
live
long
forever.
time.
Yeah. So
At least that's at least I think so.
Yeah.
The Emperor does so.
Yeah.
He's like 40,000 years old.
Right. So I would suggest,
And kind of dead. Sorry.
it's all right. Those are important things to know. So have some time have passed. So there's a little bit of distance.
Right.
It's just easier for people to start a new character that way. If it's like right away, people tend to fall into that same kind of routine that they're used to, especially if you're using the same system you've used.
Yep.
So it's nice to have distance, even if it's not actual time in the real world. If it's time in like the game world, it helps.
Yeah.
No, I think that's definitely true. That just a little bit of distance. And I would I think you hit the nail on the head, Stu, when you said talk to your players. But I think that not 200 years in the future thing, but just enough where you could introduce a cool character that everybody really liked, or their characters are NPCs now and you could meet up with one of them would be cool.
Or it would be nice. Probably the players would like if, I would imagine, maybe not all of them,
Yeah.
but some of the players might like to be able to find out what happened to this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
What happened?
Yeah.
We jumped into this rift.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously something bad.
Yeah.
But what?
Well-
and to be able to uncover. I wouldn't make that your main plot.
Yeah.
But have it just be like, oh, why is there a giant temple with a huge statue of what looks like my old PC?
Yeah.
Well, like you said,
Oh my God, that's so much fun.
if they're the same characters or some of the same, or I'm sorry, players or some of the same, it is cool. Like you said, if there's that one-on-one and you're like, this is just between us, because then that reveal of what happened to that character for the rest of the table is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, if there's like
A giant statue.
A giant statue in some huge market square or something like that.
Plus, who knows? I mean, when you go into the rift, time and space may get tweaked. There might be some planet that went in there and came back out. And for the planet, it's 10,000 years later. So there could be a whole cult wrapped around this guy who died a long time ago. And
Definitely talk to the players though, because it's like after spending that much time as a player, as a character, you get really attached to them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if after, like, at the end of Moat or something, like, after we played for, like, almost 3 years, like, if you'd, like, been like, okay, I'm just going to tell you what happened to your characters, like, I think that would, like, that's not cool.
No.
Don't do that. So even if you want them to pick something specific and they don't pick that, they will probably come up with much worse things than you ever would, actually. But let them kind of dictate the ending or ascension or whatever of those characters, and let them kind of close that story. And even if it is secret, that's really important to have them have that that player choice.
Now, I would add, you're not locked into what the players do. You're locked. You should. I think you should be locked into what the choices the players state they make. But the repercussions of those are entirely yours.
Right.
So if one of the guys says, I was perverted by the, and I became a chaos, a chaos captain or cultist or whatever, and went to some planet and enslaved it.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Then maybe at some point your character died. And then there's this planet, and there's like propaganda posters all over the place with your mug on them. And there's like, I mean, you have leeway in what happens in the world after your character, this character has made its impression.
Oh, definitely.
But I mean, it's rife with possibilities. But I think I wouldn't make any. I don't think I would make any of it the main focus of the game.
Hey.
I think what I would do is make it more like backdrop, so the players can see. Oh, here's what happened to that guy. Here's what happened to that guy. And Tappy just arrived.
Yes.
Yay.
Welcome, Tappy.
We start at 7.
So we're gonna open more.
You didn't remember that?
You must have been here at 7.
No, I put a thing on Slack. We've been starting at 7 for since Fair started.
Oh man, that bit my finger.
I did not get that memo.
Okay, yeah, we're starting at 7.
Welcome.
Hi. How you guys doing?
It's exciting though, because people just show up.
It is
super cool.
I was totally on top of it today.
Do you want to try some of this?
Okay,
cool.
I was late.
And then.
Oh wait, I need to fit this thing on.
Good luck. Can I have a little more of that one?
Yeah, of course you
drinks
can.
it?
Yeah,
I can't wait to do the brew again.
Yeah.
Oh, here, I'll do this before.
I won't touch
I
it.
need this at nipple level, so.
Nipple level,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Right on your nipple. Just attach it to your nipple ring.
Yes.
It's exactly what I did. Wait, let's turn this on. Is this on?
There's no switch.
Is this thing
Just
on?
is the mic's on?
I
Here you
think.
go, dear.
Yeah, I
if
think.
you're going to chew...
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to.
You want me to drink?
Okay, right.
So I think the other thing
need
is
that
like
later.
pick very carefully
her.
what things you incorporate
Yeah.
from your previous campaign.
Yeah.
Like, don't try and sprinkle. Like, I know you are probably still really attached to all that stuff, and since you're not, I can't tell if you're taking real time in the real world. Like, we came back to L5R after some time had passed in the real world too, so it was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. If you're jumping right back into a new campaign, it's really easy to have that like nostalgia, which like fresh nostalgia that you're bringing in. Oh, this was so great! Remember this? And oh, this is awesome! Oh, this character's so good! We'll have all of this in our new campaign too, even though it's like 4 generations later.
Yeah.
Like no, pick and choose the things that are going to be most applicable and influential in your new story.
Yeah.
And let the rest go to history.
That totally relates to what I was going to say, which is, Stu, you are the consummate storyteller, I think. You're a really good storyteller. My gut tells me less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think regardless of what people say they want, you got to leave them wanting
that's
so
why,
that when it comes out, it's more impactful.
That's why generally when a campaign ends and it has a good ending, I'm usually more about not continuing the campaign. At least... Okay, it's the next day. No, I've done that. I've had people say, "Oh no, let's keep playing same characters, characters. Let's keep playing." It's never as good as the
We're talking about the campaign that had a really amazing end of game.
Did you read the first email?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
yeah. I'm on top of it. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, how much to include or not include?
Well, there's practically I have never started another campaign after one ended. That story was done,
Right.
and whatever. But I set up after the Traveler campaign. It was supposed to be a more like Firefly-esque, like a bunch of people cruising around and doing like runs between different parts of the
doing
world.
odd
getting
jobs and
yeah,
stuff,
It
yeah.
turned into this cataclysmic world-ending campaign and completely changed the face of this planet. And so I wanted to run another game in that world 10,000 years in the future in Traveler actual like map with the cultures that were in there turned into spacefaring cultures, and also
they've kind of spread out, right?
One, two of them had also combined because of the actions of Bill and Jessica. So there's because of another character actually ended up being like this weird sentient robot thing, and so I decided that she was actually Empress of the largest like part of or what the Empire would be for the Villani. She was Empress of that.
Awesome.
And so you have all this backstory, you have all this stuff that people can connect with, and because you've all made it together, I think it feels more real to everyone.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
That's where I would go with this sort of thing. You know, you come back, sure, it's the 41st millennia, but it's 600 years in the future. Or 600 years in the past. It don't make a difference.
Right.
But if it's 600 years in the future, all of those things they've done, if they feel impactful, and it feels like their characters before did stuff that they now are dealing with new characters, I think that brings into effect that concept of useful work to do. Right? What I did matters.
Right.
And so I like that idea. I really like that idea of having the characters feel like they have impact upon the world.
Sure.
It's why I don't like playing in Star Wars. If I play in Star Wars, I don't want to be during any of the movies.
Right.
Because
You feel like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not impactful.
You're a side quest.
or you're
Yeah.
going to change canon.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be mad because Winona Ryder is Spock's mom.
Right.
The Star Wars game that I ran took place. It was before what was the Force Awakens. It was before Force Awakens came out.
Yeah.
But I had read there was a couple of novels basically kind of dealing with the fall of the Empire after.
Was that the Timothy Zahn ones?
I don't remember.
With Admiral Thrawn? Who
No.
like, looked at people's artwork and then realized how they think and kicked the shit out of them?
No,
That's
it
awesome.
wasn't the Thrawn
Very
books.
cool.
They're recent books. They came out
Oh, okay.
within the last couple of years. They came out after Force Awakens was announced.
Oh, okay.
And I read one of them, and it basically talked about how the Empire kind of is going to take a while to collapse. It's it spans an entire freaking galaxy or most of the galaxy. So I thought that was kind of an interesting era to set it in because the Emperor is dead. The government is probably not admitting that the Emperor is dead. So, but you've got all of these Moffs and Grand Moffs who are like vying for power because maybe they know.
Imagine like Dave, or Moon over Parador.
Right.
But where you're an actor hired to be the Emperor.
Right.
Oh my god.
You have no force powers.
Oh my god. I want that game so badly now.
But you can talk really evil.
Right.
That would be. Oh, I wish I had thought of that. God damn it.
You do that as a one shot,
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
and you can't get caught.
No. But
the books are Chuck Wending's?
yeah,
Wendig?
that was it.
Wending's.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Empire's Collapse or Empire's Shitting Itself or something.
Right.
I don't remember exactly.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
The other thing that I can think of for this idea is Infinity War. That is a movie. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's a movie based on all the other movies before it.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, sure.
So, like, the stuff that happened way back when has real impact. And we don't need to be introduced to any of the new characters and stuff like that. So, if you are going to go on with it, if you want to have either the same characters or new characters, but they warp back at the same time, just that idea of leaping off into something else is the only thing I can really think of.
Right.
Because, already done a whole bunch of character development. That's not a type of game I would run, but I also don't run D&D. So I mean, that is perfectly cromulent type of game, I think.
No, it sounds like he's going to start with a brand new characters.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a good ending, and you don't want to spoil that ending too much, because having some of that mystery remain, I think, is going to. That's a very satisfying ending if you like dark, grim endings.
Well, and if for some reason all 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 12 players are brand new, like, you could probably do all you want, but don't expect them to get into it,
Right.
or be excited about it.
I mean, we're kind of most of our advice has been kind of assuming that it's the
That
same
at least
players.
some of the players are the same.
I also really like the idea of an L5R game where you play a lion clan, and then you do a whole bunch of crazy shit, and then it's like, okay, we're now playing Crane.
Yeah.
Picking up right from that time left off.
Right.
And now you have to do all this political bullshit because the lion are in your face, and that ends. Right after that ends, the Scorpion game starts up.
Yeah.
And so you have to fix your own bullshit each time. And you know you're going to fuck yourself over, but you need to because that's where your characters will. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, switching
Right.
territories, that's
That's
a great
awesome.
idea. Because then you don't necessarily have to let that time pass. You can actually almost have it running parallel. You don't even like have it overlap. Like, oh yeah, there's these
2 groups.
4 crane assholes like running around trying to get these swords, and then like, oh my god,
Right.
that'd be amazing too.
Or you could be
I really
like
that.
the lion, like have this awesome battle against the crane, and then the crane starts up where you're on the other side of that battle. Like,
at the very end of it. Yeah, I like that.
oh shit!
Oh, yeah, especially.
How do we maintain our honor but not die?
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Crane will start out dishonored. Maybe I don't know. Like
Right.
you figure it out. But
Yeah.
I think that'd be really neat.
That would be. All right.
Yeah, that's
Is
pretty
there anything,
cool.
anything else on that one? Or are we good on answers?
I feel like we came up with
Completely.
a bunch of helpful
Second.
ideas. I'd love to get an update, Sam, on like what you decide to do, where you're going with it. Let us know if it is the same set of players, because that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rogue Trader. Fuck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
see?
Oh,
That's
it's
what I was
such a
like.
good
Damn, he needs to be here.
Now, do you know about the new Warhammer RPG that's coming out?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the fantasy, but the 40K.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that company before that's doing it?
No.
Neither had I. Ulysses something?
Yeah.
I had not heard of it.
It'll be interesting. I mean,
Oh my god. You need it.
yes.
Holy cow.
But I'm excited for more 40K, and if it sucks,
Yeah.
well, we already have a whole bunch of other books that are rad.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Now, apparently,
that's
you weren't here when I said this. They're going to start with some sort of core book that's going to include all the game mechanics and then a bunch of the different character types that you can play. And apparently, they're going to be including some alien races in it as well.
huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Like a long time ago, when they first started making about 40K games,
Long
there was
time
this
ago.
argument where you can't play an alien because their brains are completely different.
Right.
Than
And
how ours
the
are.
aliens in Aliens in 40K are very
very
alien.
so
They're not just
different.
people with makeup and different haircuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have spore creatures
Stark.
who make
Yeah.
shit happen because they
Yeah.
believe it does.
Right.
You know? You have
yeah.
xenomorphs, you have... I mean, just everything is so different. It's... So, and there's enough in the Imperium to be completely different. I mean,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
it's fucking crazy. So, you know, I understand people's desire to play Eldar because I love space elves. But, I don't know, it'd be interesting. I'm look forward to checking out the mechanics they have.
Yes.
They really call it the Eldar.
Me too on the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warhammer Fantasy. I can't wait.
There's Eldar and there's Dark Eldar. Is that they
Yeah.
call them now? Is Dark Eldar?
They're, yeah.
That's like they totally ripped that off. That's what they call elves in Tolkien. The Eldar. That's the name. That's the word for
Yeah,
themselves.
no. Warhammer is ripped off from Tolkien.
No, I know. Like everything is. But usually they like
but-
switch it up a little bit. Like they
Except for the undead emperor who's been on the throne for 40 years.
Yeah, well, no, it's not 40K, but like Warhammer.
Is that really?
Well,
No.
Warhammer started off as let's do Tolkien wargaming.
Yeah.
And then I mean, it'd been going on for years when they said, "Hey, let's have space knights." That'd be cool. Space knights versus space orcs, and they also had these things called squats, which were space dwarves on like tricycles and
Squats?
motorbikes. Yeah,
Oh,
Right.
don't talk.
and it was so silly.
No
it was
squats are silly.
ridiculous.
It's still silly.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. they now have new terms in the new. I think it's 8th edition
Oh,
book
okay.
for Eldar and Dark Eldar.
They were like,
and
we
Harlequins
might
and all
get
of that.
Sooths.
So we talked
What?
about, like, this all came from, like, Games Workshop developed Warhammer. But who wrote this? Because it has one of the most, like, rich, dark fantasy
There's a lot of
I think
Warhammer
a
novels.
lot of-
settings.
yeah.
It's
Tons of novels.
amazing.
I'm kind of reading one of the Thousand Suns one. Well, there's
Okay.
only one Thousand Suns novel, but I'm reading it right now. It's kind of a slog. I'm enjoying it, but it's
Is that the stuff you can, it's like the Black Library, or there
they're
Yes.
series
Yeah,
and
that's
that?
what you're
Okay.
thinking
I don't know.
of.
They're
Cool.
just novels.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I-
horror. Yeah.
On the way to
Horus,
Burning
yeah.
Man one year, I listened to the entire Horus Heresy as an audiobook.
That was the
And-
most happy statement ever.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what the really impressive part of the story is? That after going to Burning Man, you remembered that you did it.
I know.
Because it was on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way. And they kind of do a thing where it's like very large adjective, noun, adverb, verb, and it's these very large when it's put together. So like no sentence is less than like
So
7 or 8.
Tolkien.
But
It's
you know,
almost it's almost
Very
like
descriptive.
it's so
it's almost
grand.
like late 19th century writing.
Yeah.
Where the or I almost Lovecraftian.
right,
Lovecraft-
yeah.
Okay.
Very flowery, just super descriptive,
And
big meaty sentences. Yes.
Interesting.
And so after 16 hours of this, you get a this kind of like voice in your head describing to yourself the things you were doing.
No, the happy dog.
Lonely upon the playa, wind blowing dirt into his face. He strode manly towards the bathroom.
And so your entire Burning Man trip was narrated in your head. In
Oh,
this
yeah,
amazing
yeah.
voice.
It got exciting.
I'm sure that was the fault of the audiobook, Tappy.
should've
That's
kept that.
totally
No, it
what
totally
it
was, because it got there like when I was setting up.
As if read by James Earl Jones.
You should have kept a blog.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I can't even keep like a date book. You think I can keep a blog at Burning Man?
I don't know. I have things. So I'll talk to you later.
All right.
We'll do this. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, because it'll be Fear and Loathing at, I don't know, Burning Man.
That's
We're
redundant.
Burning Warhammer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
The Burning Man probably should be dressed like Hunter S. Thompson.
True.
Yeah, if we wore
A
clothes.
little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That's awesome.
The little hat with the
Yeah.
shades.
That's all it should be.
Have you
right.
seen the film?
No, I haven't.
I have.
With Johnny Depp
Yeah.
plays.
I have not seen the
plays
Johnny Depp
Hunter
film.
S. Thompson,
It's really.
and
it's,
Benicio del Toro
Toro.
plays his lawyer. Did you ever
I've-
read
Yes.
Fear and Loathing in
I have
Las
read
Vegas?
it.
Yeah.
I have not watched the movie.
It is fantastic.
it is really good.
It is really good.
Hunter S. Thompson, another person. Once you read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas from cover to cover, you start narrating yourself with the voice. of
As
Hunter
if,
S. Thompson,
as if you just took a
because-
big blast of coke, right?
But,
Right.
but also, he has a very strong, narrative.
Oh, sure.
How
Yeah.
he puts a sentence together is very specific.
Yes.
You could read a page of it and know immediately,
I-
without knowing anything else, that it's Hunter S. Thompson
I
writing
have
it.
read way too much of that shit. And you can ask Kimmy because she had to read the blurb I wrote for ShadowCon, which is very beat noir.
Right.
That's me. Yeah, it's like that total crime novel
Yeah.
stuff, and then the beat stuff.
There's a story because my degree's in journalism, so there was a bunch of journalism students who were big Hunter S. Thompson fans and always tried to emulate his writing, and all the professors were like, "Don't
Yeah.
do that.
Do that.
Once
your
you've
own
made it,
voice."
you can do this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's not going to get you a job."
Yeah.
Because Hunter S. Thompson exists.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Or it did, at least back then he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a story that used to get spread around. It might be apocryphal. I don't know. That he actually had an 8.5-inch roll of paper
Oh.
attached to his typewriter, so he didn't have to change sheets. I don't know if that's true,
That would be kind of awesome.
but he had this thing.
That's so.
That was me, snorting on the table.
Yeah,
right.
snorting-
Because that.
I don't know, vitamins.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite
Post
openings of any
Yeah.
novel is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is
Yeah.
the whole thing where they're listing all the drugs they brought with them.
Yeah.
And the danger of ether.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
All right. Who played
So,
stuff this week?
Who played? Did anyone play anything?
I did.
Yes.
I was at fair. I'm not playing anything.
Oh,
I did too. You want to go first?
Oh, yeah. We played Demigods.
Yeah.
which was super. I am loving that game so much. It is so fantastic. We had a guest player this week because Adam wasn't able to join us, so we had Mike, who is in Interpol X, come in, and he played the Verdant playbook, which is like a demigod of life, and he was
So like a tree?
A dude.
no. Well, he used a tree at one point to heal someone else, but he was
Nice.
a dude who
A
owned
dune
a
or-
fantastic like pot shop in Venice.
So he was the dude.
Oh,
Yeah, he was the dude.
Yeah, fair
And we had a big battle down on Venice Beach, which was amazing. And my character hated it because she doesn't like the sun. But
what?
That's
that's awesome.
legit.
I think
Yeah,
that was
that's
terrible
legit.
thing.
Was that Stork's playbook in our one shot? I bet it was.
Possibly, yeah,
And
I don't
it was
remember.
a total. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
yeah, it was super fun. And I love that playbook. I'd played that one in a couple of the beta tests. So it was fun to see somebody else play that playbook.
I have heard nothing but great things about that AP. So.
I may have watched it.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I may have watched
I
it.
think
You're also super great in the chat
Yeah.
room, which is super fun.
I think we should talk about Monster Hearts Session 0 because we're both
should.
here,
Holy
even though
shit.
it was within, because we're going to play on Monday.
Yes.
Session
Yeah,
1.
at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, 7
7
o'clock.
o'clock.
Now,
7 o'clock.
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
we had so much fun in our Session 0
man.
that we had about 9,000 people talk about, remind us not to crosstalk, which we said during because you can actually hear me say, best crosstalk episode ever on the stream, because I was like, dudes, no one can hear you.
Well, also,
Oh, yeah, if you're wearing headphones, that's one of the reasons
Yeah.
I try to. That's one of the reasons I try to encourage people to wear headphones
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
or earbuds when you're here, because once you do, if someone's talking to you
Yeah.
and there's other people talking, you won't understand
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, because I was like, and they're like,
It
I don't
ends the
care.
crosstalk.
I don't
It ends
care.
the
I
crosstalk.
should do that.
It ends the
Yeah,
crosstalk.
it'll be fine on the regular session.
You also know when
so.
your mic isn't on.
It will.
right. Yeah.
I think that was my favorite part. Like, you guys kept saying, okay, no more crosstalk. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh my god, I know. It was just, I gave up.
But it
To
was
be fair-
amazing. It was so
Yeah.
amazing.
To be fair,
Yeah.
we may have been drinking.
There
And-
yeah.
And I don't know if it's true, but, like, supposedly there's very special drinking that's going to happen at this next episode.
Oh,
In addition
maybe.
to the special drinking that happened in the first one.
Yes.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
Joe started it. Joey, you started it.
He's a quiet one,
I'm looking
but
right at
he's
you.
a troublemaker.
Yeah.
I don't know when the ride
Yeah.
came out, it was
'Cause
over.
Tappy,
I'm so proud of him.
you should be. Our little
It's all
baby-
your fault.
Our little baby's all grown up. I know. Tappy actually sent a picture to us in Slack. Do you want to describe your picture?
I think it should be a surprise. Don't
Okay.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
It
have
was-
to tune
it
in
was-
and see
in.
it and listen. It'll be
Yeah.
amazing.
I may have been in some level of disrobe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you guys will find out.
Interesting. Okay.
I think.
Oh
Sue
yeah,
wants to
no,
work.
you have to have that one. I also played Ironetta on the ShadowCon, our second stream.
That's like a Viking game? What is that?
It is okay. This is another one of those. I'm sorry, role playing games are the best thing ever. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Is that Kashmir?
No.
Wait, what is that?
It's called the
sorry.
Immigrant Song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Immigrant Song. See, I at least had the right band. What's Immigrant Song? Or what's Kashmir?
That's
That's the Wayne and
da-da-da,
da-da-da. Oh yeah, that's my other favorite.
Yeah.
So the setting, there were
Don't give away too much because people haven't listened to all of it yet.
Oh no, but
Okay.
the setting is there are two systems that exist already. One is in PBTA. It's called World of Metal and Bone, Ironetta World of Metal and Bone, and one is in Fate, and it's called War of Metal and Bone. And Tracy is going to be kickstarting this one that we got to play test on the stream, which is in Fate Accelerated. So we had a lot of
okay.
fun. But the setting is totally Norse Viking fantasy. So there are dwarves and there are other races, but you are bone bonded into the bones of frost giants.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I read about this. Oh my god, it's the
Yeah.
fucking coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and you're
just baffled.
fighting. Yeah, and
It's Bone
it's-
Mecha.
Yeah, it's Bone Mecha
Bone Mecha.
Bone
It's
Mecha.
Norse Bone Mecha.
versus Dwarven Kaiju.
Fuck yeah.
Right? No, it is totally metal of blah 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 is totally the right thing to call it. And then it's Ragnarok, and the dwarves are going to invade, and they have dwarven mechs, and they
I've never heard of
And
this.
dwarven
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah, and yeah.
They're like on top of the mechs.
Super
There's somebody on
awesome.
top of the mechs with like a fucking
Dude,
guitar.
Loki, full,
fucking awesome.
yeah, like heavy doses of Loki and all the Norse
man.
gods, and it's super
I need to
freaking
play
awesome.
this game so bad.
No, I
Oh,
want.
yeah.
I'm so.
Yeah,
Can't believe I didn't know about it because now I want
Yeah.
Samantha and you and
Oh my
Mac
God.
and Abria. I want a fucking Valkyrie game in
Well,
that fucking
oh,
game
yeah.
that I will
That'd be
totally
awesome.
run.
Ah,
You-
fucking
oh my
rad.
God! I called it. It's my idea. I'm doing
let's
it.
do this.
I don't know if I can do it by the 19th.
No,
my
we're
next
gonna
one shot
figure
Saturday, but
this out. We're
it's
gonna figure
fucking
this
gonna
out.
happen.
It's gonna happen. Yeah,
Oh my
because
God.
it's especially
We have
with
shields. We already have shields prepared for this event. I'm
Oh,
so
that's
excited.
awesome.
And
I
swords.
tried to do. In
Wait, if
fact,
somebody dies, are you going to bear them out on them?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
we're getting so excited.
We have a fire pit.
We almost cross-talked. That's how exciting this is.
No, that was a shit ton
No,
of
we were
fun.
we were good. We were actually. It was like
It was fine.
Yeah,
It was
it was
fine.
like whack-a-mole. It
Yes.
was 1-1-1.
I'm gonna
But
text Samantha right now.
Fate Accelerated makes it a lot cleaner. Fate is amazing, but we've already talked about how the entry level into Fate takes a little while to ramp up. Accelerated, which is kind of based on Mike Olson, who's going to be running our ShadowCon 3 game, which is Crimson Blades
Oh, Mike Olson's
2.
coming in?
Mike Olson's going to run.
So that's
yeah,
next Saturday?
next Saturday.
I don't know if I've met him. If you guys are still...
Yes. Oh, would love to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you-
we'll
yeah.
still be here when you come home from
Okay.
fair. But he was the principal designer. He wrote the book Atomic Robo, which is where Accelerated gets a lot of its
Atomic Robo.
right.
Atomic Robo is
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
So once you kind of get into it and you get your character sheet all laid out, it's really it's easier entry level into Fate
Than regular Fate.
Than regular.
Fate
I mean,
core.
if you even look at the Accelerated book.
Oh,
it's-
yeah. I've got a couple copies of it.
exactly. But I will definitely make sure you say howdy to Mike. But so it was awesome. It was fun.
I personally think that any Fate game that has its own book is easier to get into than just doing Fate Core and trying
It's true.
to do it for your
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
Just because you already have the setting, you already have the flavor and everything to
Yep.
make it work.
Yep.
Right.
No, it's I think that's true.
Yeah.
Actually.
Because I've stared at Fate Core many a
Yeah.
day,
Oh,
going,
yeah.
I want to do something with this. Oh, God.
Yeah.
See, it looks like
I'm really ADHD.
You need to play because you're like me. I like to read and do, and that's what it took me with Fate. So yeah, for sure. And then I played Spaniard's Ghost on Wednesday. So that was our third to the last. So our penultimate episode will be in a week and a half from now, kind of.
Right.
So we have 2 more episodes left because we're gonna do our Happy Jacks season
episodes.
change. Yeah, and it's really there's a lot of action and a lot of character kind of reveal moments happening. So it's been a lot of fun. So
Yeah, I got to see some of your last episode.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was fun.
cool,
I am on the intertubes, it turns out.
cool.
And Tabby joined Twitter. It's
I
very
know.
good.
I joined
I
Twitter,
saw
yeah.
you on there. I saw you on there. What's
you
your...
can
What's
follow.
your...
Yeah.
Arson Crafts 1.
Excellent.
Because there's
Oh,
already
yeah.
an Arson Crafts.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
Arson Crafts
followed
1.
them for a while thinking that was you.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
digitized
oh, no.
Yeah.
a few, except
Yeah.
I just covered
And
it.
I put up, remember the tract that I made?
I
for
saw
Door?
it today.
Oh.
Yes.
So good.
That was your
I'm-
character Door.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was from an old
That was from the
4th edition D&D
that
game.
the
started
first
all of this.
Right.
4th edition D&D game
Yeah.
we had.
Right.
Seriously.
And
And you were playing a Goliath warden
Yeah.
who
Oh my
thought
God.
he was a cleric of Bahamut.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there were like 10 of
I-
us in that game.
No, I remember when you used to
It's
talk
great.
about. I'm going to have to look at the Twitter. So make
It's
sure you follow.
hysterical.
It's
And
hysterical.
I do
Yeah.
believe you were probably drunk when you...
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
absolutely drunk when I drew that.
Yeah, if you go
amazing.
to Happy Jacks RPG on Twitter, we retweeted it, so that's probably
Yeah.
the easiest way to
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
find
yeah.
it. Scroll through it there.
And then you
Cool.
can follow me.
Follow
Yeah.
Tabby.
Yeah.
Arson Crafts won.
And
The
we'll,
only one.
we'll get it added to your name tag soon.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Also, one thing I wanted to also plug, we've been doing a couple after game like little recordings for our Patreon.
The first one...
subscribers.
what game is that
cool.
for?
That's for Demigods right now.
Okay,
Awesome.
the first one went up. The second one might be up because I've scheduled them. There's
Right.
3,
Yes.
right? They're all coming up in the next week and a half.
Cool, perfect.
Cool.
So, like, it's just kind of like a debrief. Sometimes it's one-on-one with Jason and a certain player. Sometimes it's the group of us talking kind of about what happened, what we expected. Sometimes it's Jason saying, "This is what I had planned when I showed up, and I threw it all out the window."
Hey, Kimmy.
And it's completely different.
How can I see
You
those?
can see that by being awesome supporters on Patreon.
Awesome.
So, super fun. I mean, you're not missing anything. If you're not a Patreon, we totally understand. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it is just kind of like another layer of what the fuck were we thinking while we were playing?
That's really cool.
When Jason gets that look on his face, what was he really expecting to happen? Probably not God crabs. That's
No.
never the
Oh
answer.
my god. Stu, do you miss playing when you're at fair, or are you too exhausted?
I'm too exhausted.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
I'm
'cause
really too exhausted to
exhausting,
care.
Having a full-time real job and commuting how many hours a day? 3? And then, yeah.
Almost 3, yeah.
And then all weekend.
And then all weekend.
And yeah.
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 Yeah. Is this not the weirdest wine ever, by the way?
This almost has a little bit of a corpsiness to it.
I know, it's delicious.
It's delicious, but
don't like
it's
corpse.
the weirdest wine you're ever
What
going
is
to
it?
drink. It's, do you want a
It's-
little
no, it
sip?
doesn't. You know
What is that
I have-
smell?
I have
Coffee.
literally.
It is.
It is.
It smells like coffee. Why?
Atomic brew, because it is infused with cold brew coffee. Yeah.
How much
So-
caffeine's in it?
Not enough.
I'm like off
it's
caffeine.
No. It's
Ruh-roh, Ruggy.
less caffeine than in a cup of non or decaf coffee. For some
Oh, it is.
reason,
Okay,
the way
all
they
right.
do it, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not like adding coffee. They're
Remember when I was
infusing.
dating the forensic anthropologist whose name shall not be named?
Yes, sure.
I know what that smells like. And this does not smell like that.
No, but
No.
I did
It
not
smells like
expect
coffee.
to taste coffee when I drank a
It's
red wine.
super smooth.
Now that I know it's coffee, I'm enjoying it. But
Yes.
before, I'm like, what
You're
is
like,
that?
there is
What is there a dead mouse in there? What is-
There's taint
Oh
in
no!
the red
It's like you
wine.
put the mouse in after you drink the wine. Put the mouse in after you drink the wine.
All right, for God's sake, let's go on to the next
All
thing.
right.
I get to talk about my games.
Oh,
yeah,
you talk
do your
about your
things.
games.
Okay, I played Monster Hearts.
Yeah.
Because we already talked about that, and it's really
Now,
goddamn
did
good.
you had a series 1, right? You had
No, we
episode-
had
Yeah.
episode 0.
Okay.
character
So character gen.
Character
And
gen.
we did a tiny scene at the end.
And we did a
Yeah.
tiny scene at the end. But
And we're all scared of
it's-
Joey's character.
Is it? Is it?
Oh no,
is it up?
Joe's Character will be great. It is up.
It's
It's up?
amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're up on Monday at 7, like
Yes.
you said. But yeah, it is a really good cast. It's a
Excellent.
really, really good cast. And I think, can we just point to herself and say...
She's our showrunner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Got
took
the
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pod,
No, you should totally take credit for that.
the
It's a really good
podfather
cast.
is right
the
there.
Tetris of who
Yeah.
plays and what is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
many
I
hours.
highly, highly, highly recommend you come and check it out.
Yeah. It's going to be
It's gonna be
so
fucked
amazing.
up, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So fucked up. It's so good.
Ooh, in fact, I
good.
brought a thing that I'll post. It's
Yeah.
it's actually an official doc on Buried Without Ceremony, Avery's website, called Safe Hearts.
Right.
Because,
Yeah. I've
Because
read that.
I mean, I think we're playing with amazing people, and the people we get to play with at Happy Jacks are pretty amazing anyway. But it is the kind of game that I actually exercised a fade to black moment, and almost I said, "This isn't the next card." But in Spaniard's Ghost, were you watching that? Because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm getting a little squigged. I would like a fade to black
Yeah.
kind of moment.
Absolutely.
And Monster Hearts is that kind of game.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's important when you watch people play Monster Hearts and seeing,
Yeah.
like, the Happy Jacks community, like, we've built a lot of trust. Some people haven't played together in games and stuff, but there's kind of, like, they all know each other, we all know each other, and through that connection, there's some trust, and that trust will build throughout the campaign.
Yeah.
And I think that's important when you see people playing games like that on the level you kind of see on streams sometimes, like, not to just assume that you can jump into that type of
Right.
game and be like, everyone's going to be cool with all this stuff.
yes.
Well, and also, in order for things to be impactful, in order for things to actually be fucked up,
Yeah.
you have to care about people,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Otherwise, like, oh, this
exactly.
is lame.
Yep.
All right, well, you have fun with your gore bullshit.
Yeah.
Borscht.
Then it's Saw.
Yeah, then it's soft.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to play that
Hospital
game.
No.
No, please.
Actually, well, some people do, but
Yeah.
By the
I
way,
guess so.
I got an email. I think it was an email. It was an email. So at this point, about 8 people have asked me to run 10 Candles again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do one other one shot or
Yeah.
something on a
After
Saturday.
fairs, yeah.
We need to do another.
You
10
should bring
Candles.
that book. Oh, no, you're not going to be there. I might borrow that because there's some people I want to run it for just in like regular life because I really like.
I don't think I own the physical
I-
book.
Oh, you don't?
I
Oh, you
printed
printed
it.
it
I think
out.
I printed it
I
out.
own
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
If you
cool.
want to, yeah.
Bring it
I have the.
tomorrow.
I
yeah.
want to
Oh.
run that game so bad.
It's so fun and it's
wanna run it
crazy
so
weird.
bad.
It
Yeah.
takes some getting used to because it's much
play
more
when
of
he
like
runs.
an improv exercise.
right.
So it's weird
Yeah.
as a player when you're used to like, oh, it's just odd to get used to after playing so many tabletop RPGs to be like, oh, I can really do like anything with this story and like I don't know. It took us a little while.
And
to watch
also
it.
it also assumes an adversarial GM.
Yes.
Yes.
because
Which is weird.
The nature of the game, though.
and I love as the candles go out, the adversarial GM becomes more powerful, and the players become less powerful with regards to the narrative, which is a fascinating mechanic.
It's also just I think a good just a good thing to run for yourself, kind of like. You know how like classical music was kind of set in its ways, and then 12-tone composers kind of threw that all into a mix, and then we got like modern music.
Right.
And so like something like this, if you've been role-playing in the same way for a while, this completely changes the narrative.
It does. Yeah, you're right.
And if you're used to yes-ending everybody, and then suddenly you're an adversarial GM, and you're used to, we don't know what's going to happen. Everybody's going to die. Like, I want to run this game because everybody's going to die.
Yeah.
And we know this. I don't run games like that.
No.
Right.
I don't run adversarial GM games.
No.
I really
Neither
want to
do
play
I.
this game.
Oh, yeah.
Final Girl is like that, but it's more beer and pretzels kind of.
Wait, is that a Saw game?
What, Final Girl? No, it is supposed to be like tropic to like the Friday the 13th and Halloween and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But it's in a different vein than that. So, and this is probably an entirely different topic, but we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but it is fascinating to me. I don't want to get into the whole system matters thing, but when a particular game's mechanics really evoke the emotional place you should be in as a character as the mechanics take effect. Bluebeard's Bride is like that for me anyway. It was.
I really want to. I read through that, and I'm fascinated to see how that works.
Yeah. But 10 Candles to me is like that too, so that the mechanics just,
Yeah, it's a very exciting time to be role-playing.
Yeah.
It's
It
a
is.
very exciting time.
It
No,
is.
it really, really is.
There's a lot of good stuff coming out, and the barrier to entry to be able to publish something right now is very low because
Yep.
everything's on the internet, and anyone can produce a PDF.
Right. And anything you run still has use for running old things.
Absolutely.
You know, running Bluebeard's Ghost gives you like things to practice to bring into your 5e campaign.
Absolutely.
You know, like
exactly.
I think that all GMs, and I've said this before, should read Apocalypse World, first or second edition, doesn't matter, just cover to cover.
Yeah.
It is a treatise on how to GM. And that's awesome.
Yep.
I mean, we really have so much information right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is the diversity and all the new people coming into the community with all these great ideas that, are new and awesome. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think so too. I mean, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Boy, is it a great time for the hobby.
It is.
Yep.
And oh my God.
A golden age.
A golden age.
It is. Or Silver Age, because that's better. I'm sorry. It is.
Oh, shit.
A platinum age.
Yeah, Gauntlet Throne.
No, it's...
Yeah.
A diamond
Yeah,
age.
Silver Age is better
much
than
better.
Golden
Yeah.
Age, yeah.
And I'm totally running a Viking Valkyrie
Golden
game. I'm
just
so
makes
excited
it
about that
first.
game.
Yeah.
Bone Mecha.
Yeah.
Yes, 100% that's happening.
All right.
Cool.
No, right?
Send these in.
Okay.
Tainting
Yeah.
the player experience
I
from
can't
Ben
read
from
this
Texas.
email.
I will explain. I have discovered why taint is funny to us,
Yeah.
but it's not funny to other English-speaking people.
Because
Because
we're like
they use
4
chode.
years old.
I had an epiphany.
You did?
Well, I don't know this for sure. Here's my theory. I will need some people who speak English in other parts of the country
Yes.
and the world
Yes.
to tell me if this is true. Do you use the word ain't? Because if you do not use the word ain't, or if it is not part of your normal vocabulary, taint you nuts and taint you asshole doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's one of the things, like, they've been talking about this and actually debating about this a lot. Like, there's a lot of places where taint doesn't mean the little space
Right.
right
The
there.
perennium.
Yeah, the perennium.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
gooch.
The goose.
The chode.
But
Stu and I have
the
this
other thing they
conversation
talk
all the
about
time. Yeah.
is, like, after
Yeah.
5 fucking years of using this word, it shouldn't be funny anymore.
It's
still
sorry.
funny, though.
Sorry.
But it is!
Yeah. It's just like when
And
I'm
it's-
sorry.
I'm guessing it might be a West Coast thing.
No,
No, it's
I don't
100%
think
a
so.
West Coast thing.
No,
Well,
I
the
think it's a-
taint, like, that word for it is very
Maybe.
regional.
And I
is what
think it's
they talked
regional
about.
because the joke uses the word ain't, and I don't think that is an East
I've
Coast
never heard
term.
I've never heard that joke, and I think I still think
too.
the word taint is funny.
I do too.
I think there's also the willingness to have something be done to death and then it's hilarious
Yeah.
that it's been done to death.
Driving it in.
I'm a grown-ass adult, and I was a district manager, and sort of. But see, there is an adolescent boy in all of us, regardless of gender. Sorry,
11-year-old.
Yeah,
Yes.
11-year-old. Okay, because every time I would say your duty shift, at least. Yeah. They go. You said duty. You said duty.
That's
Right?
what it is. Like, we are really just fucking kids. And we
Yep.
are fucking kids who drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why it's
Even
funny.
worse.
Yeah.
And we're busy adults with many, many, many problems and things to do. So when we get a little like, hee hee, that's funny.
And if you want to
We gotta
get
take
like
it.
artistic about it, finding that childhood place
Right?
inside yourself releases you to explore new things.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what my my voice and movement teacher in college said, and she was great.
That's what my therapist probably
Ah.
would say if I had one. Yeah.
Sergito said, "This is the reason why my old L5R group used to refer to the Shadowlands taint as Fu Ling's crotch rot." That's much better.
Yeah,
that won't
That's
evoke
not gonna make
laughter.
us laugh at all.
Fling's crotch rot is amazing.
That's a band name,
Holy
I
fuck,
think.
that's a band name. Oh, and a shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Just
there you
straight
go.
up, like a picture of some like zombie or something in Fu Ling's crotch rot.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Crotch rot.
I
Crotch
tend
rot.
to in like
Crotch
really serious moments, if I think of it, I use the word corruption instead. But that's also a really
Yeah.
great kind of barometer in our L5R game. Like, how serious is the moment? Because if we can say taint without laughing, we're all fucking serious and
Right.
someone's about to die.
Right.
Oh yeah, especially if it's a crab game.
That's
Because crab
hilarious.
games take it seriously.
Right. Okay.
I left them. They hate
Jedi
it.
Droid 081 said, "We giggle at it in Oz." So let me ask you this:
Yay.
in Australia, do you use the word "ain't," or do you not even know that joke?
I don't know that joke.
I don't know that joke
we've
either.
heard that joke here.
No, that's the
just
first
heard
time
it.
I've ever
Oh,
heard
it is
Really?
Me too.
I've never
Me
heard
too.
that joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
I've
might
also
have
heard
said-
it as a taint ass and a taint pussy.
And see,
Right,
and I,
exactly.
And I,
Well, yeah,
and I think
that's
the word's
the-
funny without
That's
knowing
the other,
there.
the
Yeah,
other
that's
joke.
the other taint.
I just think it's funny because it's
Yeah,
the taint.
it's the taint.
perineum.
It's
It's,
the
right by your
perineum.
asshole.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
It's by two hilarious things:
Yeah.
genitals and butthole.
It's the little. It's like the no man's land right
Yeah.
there.
No man's land.
Okay, according to Jedi Droid, they use the word "ain't" in Australia, although Radio Rob says they generally don't.
Hey, Rob.
Maybe they're in two different parts of Australia. Maybe one of you is from
It's a very
the
big
city
place.
folk, and one of
I
you
think
is
it's
from the
just
country.
the
I'm
same.
just thinking it of the World War I of your
Yeah.
genitals and asshole now because of
It's the no man's
the
land.
no man's land.
Yeah.
That's it's been blasted, so there's nothing there. And you need to make sure that you keep that stalemate. You can't have one go into the other because that's just bad for you.
Right.
I just bit my tongue. Thank you. No, because I'm like, I'm going to say it. Yeah.
Just scoot this way a little bit.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
No, that's funny. But there are funny words, like, in different parts of the country, to your point.
Oh, no, Jedi Droid is from Brisbane. So
Okay. Yeah.
I hope
Like,
I
you can't say
pronounced
stuff
that.
there.
Now they're
Yeah.
Are they fighting?
They're fighting. Well, they're Australian. Come on. It's almost
right.
like they're
So
Irish.
Fighty people.
Right. Well, I've never met anybody who drinks like Australians. Like,
No.
oh my gosh.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Irish?
I've had Irishmen drink me under the table.
yeah.
But Australians who party,
Yeah.
holy fuckballs! You find yourself like in jail 3 counties away, and you don't even know how that happened and where'd that chicken come from.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Tainting the player experience
player
from Ben in
experience.
Texas.
Okay.
Sorry for the little sidetrack there. Who would like to read this email?
I'll do it. Let's see if I can not laugh. through
We
this
can
thing.
split up the next
I
one.
totally forgot to.
All right. I'm running a game of D&D set in Eberron, in which the players are instructed to create characters fit for a heist story, a la The Italian Job or Ocean's 11. The
Yeah.
PCs were on a mission to abduct a high-level target of a noble house when their target was abducted by changelings, likely working for some rival operation. It was my intent that the PCs would chase the rival operation in order to steal away the target and accomplish their mission. That's your first mistake. You made a plan. All right. However, one player seemed to think that they were being led into a trap And who was this noble prick anyway? And how could they? And how could abducting them possibly be worth the risk of following their rivals into unknown territory, etc.?
All right, that player read Dresden.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because if you read all of Dresden Files,
Yeah.
you will. Fairies scare the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
They're terrifying.
I love the fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get away from them. Stay away.
away.
Stay away.
I swear to God, like
Don't even talk. Don't even look at them.
Yeah. Our
Also-
Mode of Sin game, like, that's why I was fucking terrified of them. I didn't want to talk. No. Oh, whatever you want. Gold statue, cool with that. Signing,
Yeah.
leave. Please go away. I don't want to see you.
I also have to say that Dresden Files is my favorite iteration of Fate.
Oh, really?
I don't know if there's a second edition,
Oh,
but like
yeah, no, there is.
the first edition
Yeah.
is
No,
it's
it's
elegant. Oh wow, is it
Yeah.
elegant? It's really, really,
Kimmy
really,
and I
really
talked,
good.
so we're probably going to do it on ShadowCon, but it's an accelerated.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
if
the
I
new
ran a
version's
game
accelerated?
Yeah.
Okay.
in Fate, it would be using the Dresden File system instead of Fate, just because it's a little more elegant, but it's tuned directly for Dresden Files.
Isn't it kind of considered like Fate 1.5 or 2.5? It's like a.
I think
No, it came out
so.
really early
Yeah.
in the whole Fate thing.
It's
but it's
it's
very
its own
elegant.
dealio.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well done. If you haven't picked up first edition Dresden Files, I don't know about second,
You
but
need
first edition,
2 books.
it's you need 2 books, and they are well worth the cost of entry.
Yeah.
I've read bits and pieces and hysterical because Bob has his little notes.
yeah.
Love it. Okay. The game is at risk of grinding to a halt, or worse, turning into an hour-long argument phase over what the party should do next.
That's fine.
Yep.
Argument phases are awesome.
Obviously, you've played Warhammer.
Or our last session.
No, 8th edition, they took out the argument.
Hollow
Oh, they did.
Plains.
God damn it.
Literally
Sorry.
any game I've ever been in. Like, any game.
Yeah.
So I asked the player a question. What would make the best story? I didn't go into how he was ruining my plans for the session, just the one question. To the player's credit, he took the point immediately and found a reason for his character to do the fun heist thing.
Oh, okay.
We had a great chase scene with flying cars, etc. A great time was had by all involved. Even so, I can't help but feel like the game session was somehow tainted because I asked the one metagaming question. Stop! Don't! I did a pretty good job. Question that changed the player's decision. I
Say
really
it was
feel-
somehow choded.
Yeah.
Or gooched. Oh, you totally gooched up the game.
Like the game session was somehow gooched. No, I really feel like this. It's the role of the GM to present players with the scenario and let the consequences play out organically at the table. Overall, I feel like the interference was tolerable and the game fine, but now I have this question in my head about how much I should be influencing the player's decisions. I actually asked the player to metagame even. How much should the GM influence players' decisions, and what should be required to justify such? Cheers, Ben from Texas. P.S. Favorite beer? Chimay Blue Label.
Yes,
Oh,
but
tra-
don't have
Trappist
anything to do after you
stuff.
finish that big bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's a Trappist.
Yes.
And
It's
it's
Trappist,
big and
yeah.
it's high alcohol.
It's a Trappist.
PPS, I noticed that the Monster Hearts actual play, discussed in Season 21, Episode 14, will feature GM PCs of the type discussed in one of my first emails. Seems like a good idea for co-GMs, no?
It totally is.
Yeah.
different kind of
very
role.
good.
Also, a different kind of role playing game where there's not a lot of prep.
Yes. More.
Not as
role-
much. It's not like
investing in
I'm
your
going to sit
character.
down and I'm going to run a game of World of Darkness.
Right. But
No,
it
but
is
you have
also
to
a
have-
game in which, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm going to make a science teacher, and I'm going to make
Yeah.
a principal, and I'm going to make a vice principal, I'm going to make an assistant
You
principal
need
of
to have
activities.
some personalities
Right.
available
And things like that.
and
Just-
fronts
yeah.
and
Right.
yeah,
And it's
Assistant
like, yeah,
principals
where
are
can I
great
push
people.
people?
yeah.
Yes.
I
Know your
personally,
characters.
I know why you feel dirty about what you did.
Dirty.
Because
Dirty.
you are asking the player to kind of metagame rather than let
Yep.
the player immerse themselves in the character, be the character and do what they would do. I personally think it would have been better to roll with it and in your head piece together, okay, so they're not going to
Yeah.
go after the fairies or the changelings. They're going to let them take this person away. What are the ramifications of this?
Yeah.
What's the next thing that would happen? Let's go on from there. That would be my preference. The fact that you had a player who when you said what would make a more interesting story and totally went at it, fantastic player.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well done.
But I understand why you feel a little dirty.
Real
I would
world
feel-
example. our last Dark Ages game. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the 4 PCs being in the room, and my PC was like, I have a plan, and other PC was like, no, we're just going. We're going to go confront that prince. We're going to go confront the prince. And I'm like, I have had, this is Vampire, I have had stuff going on to set this up for games.
Right.
And so,
since almost the beginning, right.
Yes. And
that's how you do it.
I was playing a gangrel. I didn't have plans.
no, you were just like, I don't care. I'll go where anybody
You're the best
wants
kind
to
of
go.
gangrel.
Yes.
But
when you have plans.
Do you remember that? Because that pretty
Yes.
much ended up being where it almost became, and there wasn't animosity or anything, but it was like, it was our last game. We knew it was our last game. When you play a personal game, you maybe don't know that, but I just wanted to do my thing that I had kind of set in motion, and everybody else, it's like, let's just go. You know, we're going to just go.
Right.
We're just going to go. We're just going to go. And I'm like, I just want to do this one thing. I just want to do this one thing. And finally I said, I'm sorry, I forgot to metagame. Because I was just like, I'm trying to, I just want to do one thing. I know it's the last game,
nice.
but so I know what that's like to be like, I'm in my character's head and I'm doing a thing and I'm trying to do my thing and I'm not trying to be a dick.
They're like, oh shit.
And quite frankly, that whole thing transpired because of a metagame conversation between me and Jeb, because we were talking about what we were having, like, player to player negotiations about what might happen. We were going to after one of the games.
That's a very interesting thing to have.
Yeah.
in
I'm
a
curious
world of
about
darkness.
that.
Because
Yeah.
we're getting near the end,
That's probably why.
and I told him, I said, well, if your character were to declare Praxis, I think my character would probably support you. Okay, that's good to know.
Oh,
Wow.
that's adorable.
And both of us were looking at it probably as GMs of what would be an interesting end to this thing.
And oh man, I have feelings about that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think if Kurt had said to me, which he did not, you know, something to the effect of this, what we got in the email, I would have felt a little. It depends on your headspace.
Yes.
But I might have in that moment, because I just wanted to I didn't even want to hog a scene. I didn't want spotlight. I just wanted
wanted to pass a couple notes before we left, right?
Yeah, I wanted to do
whatever,
a thing, make me roll dice, whatever you want me to do, but I just want to do this thing that I've been trying to work on for like 3 sessions. And so I think if I had been told, you know, like in a nice way, like my grandpa says, you know, get with the program.
Right.
We're trying to run a mission here. This is the game. I don't know what you're doing, being afraid of a trap. I might have felt a little chagrined.
Oh, sure.
And put in my place. But it depends on your headspace. It sounds like this player absolutely was not.
Yeah.
Like they were
like it at all.
super cool, and I don't think you should worry about it.
I understand why he feels a little dirty about it. I do understand that, because it's a little railroady. It's a little railroady doing it.
Metagame railroading.
Yes.
Little?
Yeah.
It's
a
a
lot
little.
of-
It's a little. No, it's little. No, because you're still letting the player make the choice and make the conclusion.
Are you though?
Yeah, because
I
what
mean,
was the question?
Yeah.
What would make the best story?
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
That's
like
meta.
Yeah, that's super meta. And
No,
you're
I'm not saying it's not.
Right.
I'm not saying that isn't a meta gaming discussion. I'm not saying
Right.
that at all. What I'm saying is, of the crimes of railroading, that's an infraction.
Oh, for sure.
maybe.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how you ask it. Like, if you're like one-on-one, if you pull them aside, like, hey, what would make the best story? Yeah, you're okay for infraction. If you're at the table with the rest of the party sitting there listening, you're like, hey, what'll make the best story?
Yeah.
As the GM, suddenly, like, as a teacher, I know the power of a crowd.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
like there's a
You
difference.
can
Like,
put somebody in your place.
yeah,
in their
absolutely.
place.
If I leave a kid sitting in the room and I ask them something and I'm looking at them, like that, there's a much bigger chance that they're going to do whatever it is I want them to do because of that pressure.
Right.
And so if you're pulling them aside, like it kind of depends. You didn't specify exactly. So if you pull them aside and like, hey, what'll make the best story here? And okay, like I'll go. Okay, it's not a choice I would have made, but I am also a super sandboxy GM and do whatever you like in my world.
Yeah, high five.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Like, fine. Like, I have plans for every contingency, and actually that is because I have no plans for anything.
And
but
and at the end of the day, if character A, B, and C they're annoyed with character D holding up the Ocean's 11, mission,
Right.
the run, then roleplay me, appeal to my character with why I need to get over it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's when, as a player, we need to not. Yeah.
I totally cut happy opposite.
Okay, I just have some strong feelings about this. So if
Yes,
you guys want to
please.
finish,
Good.
Please, I want to hear you.
Okay. So, first, at least for me, like, metagaming isn't just chat around the table. It's specifically knowledge that a character doesn't have.
Right.
And metagaming happens all the time. Like, you're chatting around, oh, yeah, my character's really good at stealth. And then in the game, oh, you, Sir Thief, you're very good at stealth. Like, do you want to fucking know that? Like,
Right.
metagaming happens all the time, and for it to be fun, we can't play the cards that close to the chest. And in this very specific situation, with the knowledge and position the GM was in, I think this was the right choice. That being said, I think that this could be done in a non-metagaming way. One of the reasons why I like to game online is I can send instant messages to everybody
Yeah.
without anybody knowing.
Right.
And I can do sidebars the entire time. And so, with this guy's like, no, we can't do this, start giving him reasons why he needs to.
Right.
Oh, by the way, you know that this rival corporation is the reason why your family's fortunes failed, and that's why you're adventuring.
And in the expansion or the entire field of railroading, that is a fix-it ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
a
absolutely.
very minor
Yep.
infraction, and you save the game for everybody else because yelling about what we should do and what we shouldn't do.
I've done that.
I've done that. I mean,
I do that. I've done that on
Dora
Slack.
did that with
many
Claire's
times.
character.
I have a
What was her
specialty
name?
in that, yes.
Yeah. And we went back and forth before we went to Death Island.
Or one of the things I will do if the party's not taking a plot hook, I will Slack one of the players. Hey, the person the fairy just ran away with looks like it might be your sister.
Right.
Right, that's
And-
different, though.
And the
Yes.
thing is like
Yes and no, because
You have-
I
you
never
have
really
players.
intended it to be their sister, but
I
I decided to make it.
I have players who understand the yes and understand how gaming works, and they think something's a plot hook, latch onto it like a fucking bull terrier,
Remor.
and just
Like a bear.
And everybody else around there, like a bear fucking trap.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody around is like, no, we don't have this. Like, no, this is it. We have to do this. This is it. And I had players kill other players, literally, because one player
Sure.
took something I gave them. That's kind of a off whatever, like to be interesting, to a plot hook that had to be done no matter what.
Right.
And the character, he like fought everybody else. And Tim and the other character that backed him up died. And so that kind of metagaming, where it's like, this is a plot hook, I have to take this, is not necessarily good.
No.
Even though we say all the time, go for plot hooks.
Sure.
You know, obviously this is a plot hook.
I don't
It's
say
one of
that.
the reasons why I really disagree. I don't say that either, but we say that for a specific
Some
style
people.
of game. And it's one of the reasons why 2nd edition 7 Seas.
Yeah.
John Wick makes a great game. And he especially makes a great world. But
He especially makes a great world.
I was
yeah,
just going to
he especially makes a great world.
that
For
sure.
But how he likes to run a game is kind of very shown to you in 2nd edition 7 Seas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the only way to get XP is to meet these kind of story requirements that the GM sets out and your own personal story. And so you have like what the beginning of the story is. Let's say you're at a wedding and a murder happens. And the end of the story is you catch the murderer. You are told these two things. You are told the next step to what you're supposed to do. Like, oh, your next step is to check out the bedroom. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, of course I'm going to check out the fucking bedroom.
Right.
And so that knowledge, that out of character knowledge that you have very much guides where your character is going to go. And for people who like to write a story and have the players go
Yes.
through that story themselves, which is, again, perfectly
Yes.
cromulent,
Yes.
that is a fine way to do things. But it's, in my opinion, very metagamey and very railroady.
Sure.
I, like Kimmy, like to know fuck all what's going on. Have just this sandbox that everybody has to play. But that's not all games. Like,
True.
that's
No.
a bad way to run 5th edition. And 5th edition is a good game.
No.
Oh, no. Like, if you're actually running, like, through dungeons, etc., you have the status quo. And
Yeah.
the status quo is altered by some outside force. And it is up to you to do that. Like, that is the standard D&D kind of story.
But not 5e. I'm going to disagree because 5e is the game that I think has the DNA of Apocalypse World in it. And because it does, your character has flaws. And you are encouraged to play that shit out.
I'm not
so
saying
that might be a result, and I'm not going through that door. I'm not going through that door. There's a trap in there.
that
for
might
me.
be dangerous.
Yeah.
Why would I go risk my life?
Fuck would I do that?
That's a bad character for D&D.
And
I'm
it's
sorry.
because it's not. You know,
I mean, and that's true, but that's not. I'm talking about the style of game you run, not the actual mechanics of the game. Because the mechanics of the game, great. 5e is the best edition
Oh
of
my
D&D
gosh. Yeah, it's
we've
awesome.
seen. It is absolutely fantastic. Thank God 4th edition existed so we could get rid of the tropes of 3.5.
It was a
and get
palate
to-
cleanser.
It was
Yes.
a palate cleanser. It's the 12-tone composers.
It brought a bunch of people into the hobby.
Oh man.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
me.
It 100% brought a bunch of MMORPG players into the hobby too.
Yeah.
Like 4e did its job
Yeah.
so that 5e can exist, and
Yes.
5e is golden and beautiful.
Yeah, it
But
is.
there are many different types of game, like Monster Hearts versus D&D
Yeah.
are both very different style of game.
Right.
And so, in the style of game where you're kind of like leading people along, or you intentionally have, there's a status quo where everything's fine, and then something upsets that. As opposed to Apocalypse World, there's a status quo where everything's not fine, and you need to do something about it.
But at the same time, this is not the game. Although I don't know that they say, it just says D&D and Eberron. So it doesn't say it's 5e. So if it is 2, or if it's something else, then absolutely, because that's where Stop Talking to My Experience Points comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it is 5, I don't know that I think it's a big deal that they're sitting there having it's still... I don't know, the DNA strand is still D&D, but I don't know that I think that's bad if you have a character that's like, I think this is a trap.
Hold on, what are we talking about now?
This.
So we're talking about metagaming. That you don't think metagaming is bad.
That I don't think it's wrong to let the players, you can, as the GM narrator, who's accountable for NPCs and background story and stuff that might be occurring, you can introduce those plot elements or people, but otherwise, I think it's for the players to hash out whether they were going to talk through that character not feeling like this was a trap.
Yeah,
That's what I think. I
mean-
don't think it should come to point of order.
Yeah.
What's a better story?
Yeah, I think the GM knows their players best. If you really thought as a GM that this was going to turn into a 2-hour argument, okay, I can see why you did this.
I mean, that absolutely saved the session.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, but maybe not.
Well, see, I don't think having those, if it's in character,
Right.
having those
character.
in character arguments
That's
that go
different.
on for a while, not 2 hours.
Yes.
That go on. I think
We can do 2 hours. We've done
Yeah.
more.
No, and
We've
I-
done-
I don't mind those at all.
Hello.
I could
Dead
have
brain.
told the player who was freaking about this NPC's blue eyes that, hey, by the way, that's not a big deal. And then there would have been no fight, would have been no consequences. Those two characters wouldn't have died. And
Yes.
instead we had this amazing scene,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, I think there's a bit of, like, assumption and a bit of, like, hubris, like, assuming that your story is the best story that
Yeah.
can be told.
Yeah,
Because-
that's a good point.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you say, "Oh, we had this amazing, heist thing," and I get like D&D is hard to run. You have to do a lot more prep than a lot of other systems. So yeah, like it's really like you really want them to go down that because you've planned all the bad guys, you've
Yes.
made them all, did all the crunching. You
It's
created
not
them.
that hard to improvise stuff.
I know because you just
get-
cross them
flip
off
the
and put their
around the
name
elbow.
on it.
Rust
Yeah.
monster. Here we go.
That's what I do. But I think like, you don't know what amazing story could have been told if they'd gone down that path. Like, what if, we're not going to do that. We're going to go steal the plans to wherever they're going to keep. Like, you never know. Like, maybe a better heist would have happened or something completely different and amazing.
I just mentioned, like, just as a side comment to Kimmy, like, Dead Rain. And we've talked about this in previous podcasts.
We had no idea where we were going to go.
Exactly, because our characters fought all the time.
All the time.
They were always at cross purposes. Every once in a while, we would have
You're in a zombie
allies.
apocalypse, and it's
We
two
played
sisters who
sisters
don't
who
like
hated
each
each
other.
other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No,
Oh, yeah.
and I feel like I would absolutely, I don't know if I'd even tie it, Stu. Me personally, my favorite moments in that game were the interpersonal connections between characters.
Yeah.
And that would not have happened if you or Dave were intent on, you got to get to the I forget what the super zombie was called, Donnie.
Donnie.
But what's the real thing in Dead Rain? I forgot what it's called.
A walking graveyard.
Yeah. But like, and I do realize that you have to balance like the majority of the table having fun, to your point, Tappy. You don't want 3 of the people being like,
Well,
Jesus fucking Christ. But play your character, convince my character.
I don't think that metagaming is good.
Okay.
Pretty much,
No,
period.
I didn't
I understand why this
Yeah.
why this GM did this for his session.
Yes.
But in general, I think as little metagaming as you can do is better.
Yeah.
Because
I
finding
agree.
out what the fuck happens is best.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And anytime you metagame, anytime you give players that knowledge beforehand of what the next step is, what they're
I got you
supposed to
off
do, it goes downhill.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing with second edition 7C is like, that's not the game for me
Right.
and my style of GMing. My style of GMing is don't metagame. Don't. And
You guys
don't pull
tell me what
punches.
you're going to do,
Yeah.
Right.
and I'm going to have to roll with it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the jobs of being a GM.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
Boy, is
Yes.
it not fun to write a story and then tell it to people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some people do think that's fun, though. I think that's the other side of that.
Right.
Like, maybe these players are used
If
to
I
that
were an
and wanted
amazing
that.
storyteller like some people, I would think it was fine.
Well, I mean, there are
Mickey Dave.
also players, and we've seen this at cons and stuff. Like, you've run games like this on Friday night. That's like, this is a fucking dungeon crawl. There is one right answer. All you have to do is show up. Like, sometimes people really want that. So if this group is a group that wants to show up and do the thing that you planned, and that's how they get joy, then great. Like, that's fabulous.
And I
But
know,
the fact that you feel a little dirty tells me that maybe that's not the case.
like, I know people who have played in John Wick's games, and they rave about it.
Oh, for
That
sure.
is fantastic.
Yep.
Like, one of the things when L5 Hour was first coming out, like, in his games, like, if you just got hit by a katana, you died. And that's
As
legit.
it should be.
Yeah.
And so there's a...
We're going back to 4th edition.
I know we are. We're dead.
We're going back to 4th edition.
yeah, were you tired of hitting each other with buffers?
We had like 2 combats, and we're like, done with this.
It's just
Bullshit.
I'm sorry.
the
I'm
amount
sorry.
of rolls.
I know.
Oh, my God.
It's
And
so
the amount of
Because we're doing
opportunities and
fourth?
bullshit
I
that you have
know.
to... But
Yeah, back on point.
But still,
Yeah.
if somebody's that type of GM and you have a group that likes that type of game,
Yep.
rock on with your bad selves. I will not tell you that your fun is wrong.
yeah.
But for my type
No.
of fun, just metagaming's bad.
Yeah.
Who and what
Okay.
what one of us at this table has never said anything that you kind of regret, like
Oh, yeah.
in a moment? Yeah, exactly.
Certainly
and,
not
And
Tappy.
I think, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even as a GM, like, who at the table has GM'd and done something, and you're suddenly like, oh, fuck, that's so great already. Like, I've 100% done that where I'm like,
yeah.
no, you can't do that. Wait.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was bullshit. I take
That's
that
why-
back. You can
that's
totally
why he
do
wrote
that.
to us. This is a cry for help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
It's a cry for help.
improvising. You're doing the best you can. And what I think probably happened, that's why I don't think this is like, let's flay this person and put them on, is that you get to a point where you're sensing that other people on the at the table have this momentum to go forward.
You get that panic moment. It's a
you
panic
do.
moment where it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I have all this stuff planned and it's all gone.
And this is not.
I need to take like a 20-minute bathroom break.
Yeah, and it's not scripted, so it's like that shit happens to all of us all the time.
Let's flip it real quick, and let's say a player goes up to the GM
Yeah.
and says, hey, I'd really like for this heist to happen. So, do you think you could make it so that there's this thing that we should get in this place, and it's actually like this gem?
I've had players do that, and I will totally do that. as
enough.
a GM. I've not very often.
If it makes
not
sense.
very often.
But
I've had players come up to me and say, my character went through this last session, and I kind of want to explore this aspect of it.
that's different.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's different.
That's different than
No, I
I
do
want
too.
this specific
You're
thing to
asking-
happen.
Yeah.
a result.
I want a story
Yeah.
to happen, and I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you what that story is so that my character can follow
Yeah.
those footsteps to the story.
Okay,
As
all right.
opposed to, like, my character's been super badass recently. I'd really like to see what happens when I don't have my katana.
Is there that much of a difference between those things? It's still a metagame conversation.
Right, it's still a metagame conversation, but it's like, hey, this is how you could fuck with me if you want.
Right.
Yes.
As opposed to, I would like this thing to happen.
Let me
Right.
hand you a script on what
Yeah.
I would like for
But-
the other players to be
Just
involved
like-
with.
I think the ends of it is more important than what's said. I would like this thing to happen could be, I would like this thing to happen so that this disadvantage I took can suddenly come to light.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And I think that's but I personally wouldn't have a problem if a player had a character, let's say Stork is rolling like shit all the time. It's like, I made this really badass character and he can't actually fight. Can we have a fight where we're fighting something easy so I can kill them all?
Right.
Yes.
But
Let
that's
me
not
put
him
it-
saying, I would like us to meet a bandit on the road who's
Yeah.
not, who
Dictating
can't,
story.
Yeah, saying, hey, I'd love
Yeah.
this type of thing to happen
Right.
is different than I want this specific
But it's
thing.
all dictating. It's not dictating story. It's requesting story.
Well, and here's
it's
the-
all requesting
Here's
story.
part of the difference.
Isn't it?
The
But
that's
difference with
in-game
what
or out-game.
I was just gonna say the difference is
Yeah.
whether you and I are having a conversation out of game where I'm giving feedback.
It's never
or I have
happened
suggestions,
during the game.
Or
No, it's
during
never
the
happened
game,
during
if
the
I
game.
say, you know what, I would really like now is for that to be my father. And it's like
Now
I
there
don't know.
are systems in which there are roles and stuff
Sure.
that happen, and I think there's a discussion that should happen at some point about what the limit of controlling the narrative player character should have, because you're always controlling the narrative. You swing a sword, you miss or succeed. That's controlling the narrative
Absolutely.
in some respect.
and you're
it's
controlling
like-
the narrative when you say my character is going to go investigate this or is going to
Right.
go do that. Right.
So it's like, how far do we go with controlling the narrative where you make a die roll? You just simply say, that's my brother.
But
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
as a GM, there's only been a couple of people who've actually had these conversations with me. I value it a lot.
right.
Because it gives me because normally it's like, okay, well, this is what happened last time. What's going to happen next time? But if someone says, I would really like to explore this aspect of my character in the next session, if that's possible, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I now have a task.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes it so much easier to prep.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what though? To be completely honest, I've never thought about doing that until this conversation.
Really?
I just act in character. My character, my character wants to, whatever, about their religion. Okay, well, I'm going to go find a temple. It's like I take action in the game, and that's my way of communicating to you as the GM that, hey, I'm interested in this right now.
Well,
I don't
what-
think it would ever occur to me to be like, hey, Sue,
One
I'd
of
really
the
like to do
one of the
this.
players who did it was Mac
Interesting.
during the vampire game, and she said, this thing because she had what, lunacy.
Yeah.
It hasn't come up yet. I'm like, well, let me look at the calendar and see when the next full moon is.
Yeah.
And Stork is one of the other people who's done it.
That's
Who
awesome.
says my character? Both happen in Vampire.
Yeah.
It's like my humanity is very, very, very low.
That's
I
like a
wanna pick a
mechanical
path.
thing in Vampire.
It
though.
is. It is. But he says, I want to pick this path. Can we make it so that I can learn this path from somebody?
That's interesting that those are both mechanical things that they were asking you about having implemented.
Well, Mac. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, imagine this, for the example here, because I think it's kind of getting lost in the details.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's another thing with GMs that I am against, which is fudging dice.
Right.
Imagine if players fudge dice.
Yeah.
Well, when players do, it, we
negative.
call it cheating.
Yeah, we call it cheating. And so GMs do, we call it cheating. So there's a... So in this respect...
I've already given my edge cases.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. We've done
I
that
feel like
before,
we've
but
done this.
that's the flip side. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Is we're not having the GM going, hey, your humanity is really low. You should do something. We're going to do something about that. Well, of course you're going to do something about that. The humanity is really low.
Right.
Of course they're going to go to another path. That's what you do when your humanity is
Or
really
you
low.
hand your character sheet over.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if you flip that, it still makes sense.
Right.
As opposed to you want to go on this heist compared to You want to take us
just-
on this heist.
I would rather have a
And
GM.
it's a different thing. Now, there may be GMs, or that may be a good thing, and it may also be a good thing for the GM to say, you want to go on this heist. That's not something I would do with my style of GM, but it's not necessarily a 100% negative thing.
I think there are other.
I just think it's bad.
There are other metagame questions or comments you can make as a GM that are more about play versus directing, and that would be what would possibly compel you to think that you aren't walking into a trap? What could the other players
that's
maybe say to you?
getting back to our
Like,
social
think about your
mechanics
character.
versus player
Yeah.
character thing.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Or
Right.
exactly, stuff like that versus saying,
Right.
So I think you can still metagame in the sense that you're calling attention to the character versus the game and the story you want to tell.
But also, what if there's a bard? This is the only chance they can use
Yeah.
their high charisma.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
All right.
I roll
Okay,
against-
I think we've killed this
Yeah.
to death, but I think that was a good discussion.
No, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic letter. And I also don't think this person should beat themselves up.
No.
No.
I think
No.
they're self-reflexive enough to, self-aware enough to be
Dude,
having this.
you had a broken tail light. Go get it
Yeah.
fixed and get over it.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it's not your fault.
And you can learn from it of
Yep.
when it's good to do it or
Right.
how to do it differently in the next
And if
Oh,
the
hell
players
yeah.
had fun,
yeah.
Yeah, you win.
you
Yeah.
made the. Isaac from Texas sends a tale of triumph and learning. Who would like to read this?
We're Tempe and I are going to split.
Split it. It's long.
I think it's
Sure.
the last one.
Okay,
Like a banana.
Yeah.
meet in the middle. What's up?
Peel it from the bottom. Oh, see, and I'm all like Lady and the Tramp with the spaghetti.
Well, yeah, that's what I was
No
saying.
Man's
Land?
Meet in the
Sure.
middle.
I
with
was
the
thinking-
banana.
I was thinking a
Yeah.
banana split.
Yeah.
Like some ice cream and some
And the
chocolate.
taint in the
That's,
middle.
that's where I went.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's
in
called
the middle.
on a banana. It's called the bananas.
I hate the bananas.
Do you eat the bananas?
No, I hate it.
No, it's 2018, Grandpa. We eat
it's-
bananas now.
No,
What?
I don't eat it. It's
It-
gross.
I don't think
sense.
that. I don't think the bananas is edible.
If it doesn't come off with the skin, I don't like it because I don't want to pick out the bananas.
Okay, we got to open your banana
don't
from
like
the
it.
bottom
Yeah.
for one thing.
Well, you mean like a real person instead of the Western people?
You monster.
Yeah, Western cultures are the only ones that open it.
You never
with
heard the song, have you? Bill wrote a song that the Boggarts did on a couple albums
banana
ago.
at the bottom.
Bottom.
Why don't you do what the monkeys do and open your banana from the bottom?
It's actually the way other people on
my
the
God.
planet do it too, where they'll
Oh my God.
We're the only ones.
Yeah,
Holy
they go
fuck.
like.
But yeah,
It's sort of
if you
revolutionary when you do
pinch
it.
the bottom and open
is.
it up, the
Yeah.
banana's right there, and here's the
and
bananas.
the bananas comes off with it.
It's this little like pellet
No,
thing.
I know what it is.
And it's not edible.
I can't unsee it.
Right.
It's hicky.
It's the bananas.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's gross.
I'm pretty sure actually the peel of banana is edible too. Like
I
every part of it's edible.
believe the technical term is bananas.
It is too.
I'm
It is
going to
good.
laugh every time at bananas. I do not
It
care what
is.
anybody says.
I never
Fuck
heard
you
that
and your
before.
taint bananas.
I think
we call it the taint bananas now.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that.
The
feel like
Shadowland bananas.
This weapon has been corrupted by the bananas. Oh my god.
Fooling squatted down with his bananas.
Between two terms, we have wankometer and the bananas in this
Wait,
episode.
a
Is it
wankometer?
wankometer or
Yeah.
wankometer?
It's a wankometer,
Wankometer.
because
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
British.
Oh, okay, we can be wankometer.
All right.
Okay.
Read
want to
Drill
start? Do you want me to
88's
start?
I'm
email.
going to get something angry from a British person now about the wankometer.
No.
Maybe.
You go.
Okay. Isaac from Texas sends a tale of triumph and learning. Greetings, Happy Jacks. Drill 88 here with a tale of triumph. Take a drink, for I wish to wax poetic of recent events.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go.
Bikini
Drink
wax of recent events.
Yeah, exactly. King wax,
Bikini wax.
wax on,
Ooh, bikini wax.
Yeah.
wax on, wax on.
No
Anyway.
waxing.
It's not that bad.
No. As of the writings of this email, my hot tub. Did we talk about that in Monster Hearts?
Your
Yeah.
hot tub?
Yeah, hot tub.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's
thought we
in
did.
Demigods. There's a hot tub scene coming
Oh,
up
maybe
first
that's
thing
what it
in
was.
the next game.
And it was
like how we're starting.
The Will Ferrell hot tub.
Yeah. It's in a
as-
magic garden.
Oh, is that NPC going to be there that everybody wants to bang?
He's always there.
Oh, okay.
Percy.
Percy, yeah.
As of the writing of this email, my group has achieved what many groups haven't. We are now celebrating our first year anniversary of gaming together.
Hooray!
Congratulations.
Mazel tov.
It's like the paper anniversaries of Anna.
People,
I'm
yes,
verklempt.
it is. People who I knew only in passing are now some of my closest friends. And we've not only been able to stick with each other for a year, but we also finished our first campaign. Double huzzah.
Yay.
Huzzah.
Myself and my lady friend played a gunslinger and witch in the most over-the-top two-man army story I've ever heard of.
Awesome.
We played Tyranny of the of Dragons and spent most of the game running for our lives due to no healer.
Front row.
I know. Digging into our backstory and character. Has anybody heard of Tyranny of Dragons?
Is that's a D&D 5th edition thing? Is it the
Oh, I thought that
one of the
was
like book campaigns?
Annihilation. No, I don't know. Maybe it is.
I think there's more than one.
Okay, there are many. Yeah, there's like 7 or something. Digging into
The 7 Adventures of Ben Tuzler.
there is. Exactly.
I'm glad the 7 Keys of Ventuler are
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing.
It is. No healer. Digging into our backstory and character motivations to help flesh out the world and going from wandering nobodies to owning a town. The past year has been one of the most fulfilling for me, and I have my brilliant DM and you guys to thank. Probably in yourself and your girlfriend, too, because that sounds fun. Happy Jack's
Lady friend.
Lady friend.
That would put him over 60.
Really?
She says lady friend.
Lady friend.
Yeah.
Adorable. Happy Jack.
Also
Lady
in a
friend.
linen suit,
Yes.
right? With
Right.
like a white
A Panama hat.
with
That's called a
like
Panama
some sweet
hat.
tea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe
And some-
playing bocce ball.
Yup.
Maybe playing bocce ball.
I did not realize.
My papa
did you
had
know that
a
bocce
bocce ball
balls
court.
aren't exactly round?
No.
That's
didn't
why
know
it's
that
so
either.
hard.
That's
why
fucked.
people play the game. Yes, they're oblong. They're slightly oblong.
That's
That's
so
part
fucked.
of the game.
Wow.
I had no
Were
idea.
you-
Jerry went lawn bowling.
Yeah.
Big surprise.
Yes.
I love Jerry so much.
Jerry's one of the boggards.
Jerry's amazing.
And he
also
said-
like swing salsa or something dances.
No, he does contra dance.
Contra dance.
Okay,
dance,
yeah.
Which is
awesome.
which is totally different.
I went
That's
contra
awesome.
Yeah, it's
dancing at
awesome.
one of the places where he was playing with Heather years and years and years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of fun. Very easy.
Yeah.
It's like square dance, but you don't have to know anything.
Right.
super cool.
Yeah. I used to swing dance for a long time until I went to my first goth club. And then I didn't go to a swing club for like 10 years. Because goth clubs are amazing.
They are, but swing dancing, Ingy is swing dance.
I took a few lessons of West Coast, which is harder than fuck.
Oh, yeah. You're on a slot.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
so
fuck that.
hard. Plus, it's the whole like 6/8 thing. It fucks
Right.
with my head.
I always
Well,
try.
East Coast is that way too, but it just doesn't matter where
It
you
doesn't
are.
right.
Yeah.
East Coast, and I also
East
took,
Coast is easier.
I also took Lindy Hop,
Yeah, I did Lindy Hop.
which is
That was the main
that was
style
fun.
I danced.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I always try to lead. I can't do it.
You have someone with a very strong lead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's
Happy
what you
will
need.
break you with that.
You totally do
I won't
because
do that.
you have to.
Yeah.
You literally have to break them.
Oh yeah,
So-
no, you really
Like
do.
a Philly.
Yeah. I'm serious. It's hard not to lead. Anyway, shush.
All right, go. Keep reading.
Okay, Happy Jacks had no small part to play in how I. Now I can't read this without thinking of alternate meanings for words. To play in how I both play games and run games.
Oh my.
And over this past year, I've learned a lot. If you would indulge me this time, I would like to share. I'm going to let you because this is a good break.
Okay, point to where we are.
You.
Oh yeah,
Share.
almost
Yeah.
halfway
yeah,
there.
there we go.
Yeah.
You can have fun no matter the system.
Woohoo!
This is a truism.
Yes, it is.
In
Yes.
life. Yep.
Early
Fate,
on,
I believe that one exception would be Fate.
Some people have fun with that.
Yeah.
some people juggle geese.
Don't yuck their yum.
Yeah.
We're not going to play that, but don't yuck
Yeah.
their yum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not kink
It's
shaming.
1,000 pages long.
No kink shaming.
And it's 1,000 pages long,
Wait, what are you talking
and it
about?
uses D1000s.
Some people like long things and things that
Wait,
have.
say again the system?
Fatal.
Yes,
Oh.
fatal.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yes.
Right.
It is
Somebody-
absolutely
I
the
think
worst.
we can make a value judgment with
We
Fate.
can make a value judgment on fatal.
somewhere on
We
the
can
planet,
100%.
We can hate it, yes.
And
Yeah.
those people.
No. Everybody can hate it, and anybody
Yeah.
who plays Fatal, you can hate.
Yes.
That is okay.
No,
Because
yeah,
it is
100%.
objectively terrible. No. Have you read Fatal?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, but
anal circumference is a thing.
Here's
And
the
it's
thing,
gosh.
though. Like, there's a split apart for that one person that there's another person. I just am convinced.
Fatal is
yeah.
an exception.
Yeah. No.
There is no
It's
other
not.
person who plays Fatal because any decent human being is going to look at Fatal and go, "What the fuck is this monstrosity?"
Don't shame their kink.
Not to
They
mention
can-
the fact that it's a shitstorm of organization.
Yeah. It's a shitstorm of organization
like
and misogyny.
on the on the
I tried to
hierarchy-
read. I tried to read
No,
Fatal
but I'm
because
saying of all the hierarchy problems, like the hierarchy
Yeah.
of problems with Fatal, like the organization is very close to the bottom
Yeah.
of the problem.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
agree.
it has a broad spectrum of
As
problems.
opposed to if you have a
Sorry,
bust
loading.
of
Yeah.
48 with an EE cup and a 12-inch
Yeah.
waist, you are at the max of your attractiveness if you're female.
No, 100%, yeah.
Clearly.
Because that woman could totally stand up, no problem.
Or digest food.
Especially if the large anal circumference.
That's hilarious.
They're not expecting her to digest food.
Maybe she has a Kardashian waist trainer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no.
Do
Wait,
the
like,
Oh, man.
all the vitamins and minerals you need for a day?
All right, point to where I started again.
you can have fun.
Oh yeah,
matter
yeah.
system.
Early on,
Yeah.
I was a little concerned in that playing D&D, I wouldn't be able to roleplay as much as I wanted to.
Oh, not true.
But the lack of roleplay mechanics and a lack of singular personality traits to cling to made it easier to flesh out my character and make him more than just a gunslinger.
Hey-o.
Yippee.
It's okay to mess up. Yes. Multiple times in this game, I've had amazing successes. But the biggest moments of awesome was when I didn't fight to succeed. It was when I let the dice roll fail, and I then had to figure my way out of my new problem. Success isn't measured in die rolls. It's measured in how you handle the aftermath of whatever the roll is. This is true both in
It's
role-playing
totally in
and life.
I know.
Harumph!
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of you.
Harumph.
You watch your ass.
You need a gavel.
We know Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I want to get Stu a gavel.
Okay.
It's okay to have romance. Months and months into the game, my gunslinger and the witch eventually started to like one another romantically, and soon it turned into full-on love.
They's courting.
Especially with trying to survive in a cursed temple. You're literally the only person I can actually fuck right now.
I love you.
I love you. I talked to the player. She loved the idea, and the DM was cool with it as well. And in the end, it turned to be one of the most heartwarming tales I've ever had the honor to be a part of, with the two getting married after the end of the campaign, having kids, then all of them going to join a freak show circus in their later years. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That is what I hope for my life, to join a freak show in my later years.
Actually, compared to lots of people, that's a very high probability for you.
Yeah. It truly is.
Yeah.
Fear.
Like, that's not an improbable ending, actually.
Yeah. What would it be my act?
That's awesome.
Trust is key. That is a truism.
Yep.
Yeah. Trust needs to come from both the players.
Suddenly we become Parliament.
I know.
This is a good email.
Yeah, it's
Like, I'm
it
sorry.
is.
There are things that we've said
There are truisms in
in
here.
Yes.
this
Yeah.
podcast that
Yeah.
he's repeating and then showing why it's true in his game, which is awesome.
Yes.
That's like the entire fucking point of us doing this.
Right.
Yeah, this is literally why we do this.
Yep. True.
Trust needs to come from both the players and the DM. Trust to not metagame.
Yep.
Trust with agency. Trust with knowing to be fair on both sides.
Nice.
Trust to speak up if you think something is unfair. That's really important.
Yep.
I'll change it to a beat poetry thing.
Yeah. Trust to know that it's not a player versus DM relationship.
Thank you.
Yes. Trust not to be an asshole.
Oh, come on!
Unless your character's an asshole, then it's hilarious.
Right. Or the GM's an asshole. I mean, that happens. It's not,
Sometimes-
don't asshole shame. That's for Fatal. Oh, your anal circumference is so small.
You haven't bleached it.
Small is
Your
good.
banana
Small is good.
brown.
Well, your waist is too small. You can't digest. Of course, your anal circumference is small.
Yeah. So you're going to take 2d8 damage when it's double-fisted.
Oh.
They actually use this D1000.
Yeah. Sorry.
They actually want you to roll.
2d1000.
They actually want you to roll
The Mapplethorpe
3
system.
D10s. That's how granular the game is.
Well, because it's the most accurate.
Yes, it's the most accurate role-playing game ever made.
Oh, my God.
That
Holy
last sentence
fuck.
is awesome, though.
Oh, sorry, we got distracted. Trust
Sorry,
to
we got
not be an
distracted by
asshole
Yes.
is really important. If you don't trust your table, then you are missing out on a lot.
Absolutely.
You could put this on a T-shirt.
Yes.
Like several different
Yeah.
T-shirts, actually.
Yep.
A tent.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you could have the trust T-shirt,
A large
and then
tarp.
the it's okay to mess up T-shirt, and you can have fun T-shirt. In fact, you should make these T-shirts and then come to a Happy Jacks meetup, and we'll know
Yes.
it's you.
Yeah.
I've
Or
rambled
wear a
enough-
cowboy hat.
Or wear a cowboy hat,
That would work too.
especially if it said "Trust is key" on it.
That would scare me.
I think that's awesome.
If a cowboy walked up to me and said, "Trust is key,"
Have I
No,
told you?
that's a truism for a cowboy. It's like you're a horse whisperer. You're a, I don't know. You're a cool customer.
Have I
you're,
told you about my rodeo plan?
No.
no.
Finish the email.
I've
and then
never
tell
been
us.
to a rodeo. No, this is cromulent.
What?
I've never been to a rodeo.
Have you never been to?
All right, fuck
So-
you. I'm looking this word up.
So,
No, Simpsons.
Yeah.
it's Simpsons. It's a made-up word.
Yeah.
It better not be.
Like embiggened.
I've never been to a
It
rodeo.
is made up,
So what I
but
want
it's
to
in the
do is
dictionary.
I want to go to a rodeo with a whole bunch of people who've been to rodeos, but dress up in the most hilarious, awful, like cowboy costume I can think of, with like a Three Amigos sombrero. Get
Big red chaps.
yeah, just terribly drunk.
Fringe out the ass, right?
And then running around screaming, "I don't know what to do! This is my first rodeo!"
Dude, I want to go to that rodeo
That's
with
a
you.
great Shaggy Dog story.
Right?
That's awesome.
You will last like 3 minutes.
I know, it'll be great!
No,
Now, you'll be there to stop the person
got
from
your
punching
back.
me.
I got
and
your
he's
back.
so drunk, we can go on.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me. Wait.
Do it if
You said I did not agree to go.
Oh, you're totally going to go.
I'm going to go.
I have,
taking
Somebody
me.
has to know about
I have a
rodeos.
safe space for you to do it.
Yeah.
Calgary Stampede in Banff,
Banff?
Canada, in Alberta.
It got to be closer.
It's not a rodeo.
Yeah.
That's a long way to go. I can't
It's a
get
rodeo.
everybody
Is
to go.
it?
Yes, it is.
I've been to a
I've been
rodeo.
there. I've
How
seen it.
angry are the people there?
Yeah,
They're
I feel
Canadian.
Well, then I don't want to go.
They're
Oh,
super
come
sweet.
on. They would get the joke and they would applaud.
They would.
No!
They would invite you.
But then it'd be like, oh, the story of how we all flew to Canada and they were all really nice to us.
Yeah, and they
Isn't that
bought-
hilarious?
That's the story everyone tells of Canada.
Yeah, and they would buy you drinks and
There's a great massage parlor.
and admire your.
Wait, hold on. When you say massage parlor,
In Canada, it's
I
a
was-
massage parlor.
16, so I can't say. I
okay,
don't
okay,
know.
all right. So, by the way, he's rambled enough.
Yes.
So
I was
we-
16. I didn't need a hand job.
You just saw a pretty girl. It's like, well, I'm done. Woo.
Oh no.
Oh man, have those hormones again.
I was trying not to think about it, but then I just did.
Boy, have we strayed from this email.
No, it was a good email. It's very good.
Okay, keep going. He's talking about how great
He's
you are.
rambled
Keep
enough.
going.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Okay.
Happy Jocks.
Thank you, Happy Jacks, for being with me this past year.
And how?
I look forward to more success stories in the future. You've made me a better DM and a better player, and I raise my glass to you.
Thank you very
And
much.
to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yettida.
Huzzah.
I'm going to play the applause. I'm going to give you one of these.
Go away, Baton.
Okay.
Many thanks, Isaac from Texas. Oh, you can totally hook me up with the rodeo.
Yeah!
Yeah.
100%.
Drill 88 on the forums.
Woohoo!
P.S. I have an upcoming story that involves a player's success
Oh.
and a certain pirate folk band appearing in my game.
Excellent!
If this gets read, I'll get you that story as well.
It got red.
Yeah, it got read.
Amazing.
And also,
It's going to be
rodeo.
100%. It's not going to be Epoxy Bars. It's
No,
gonna be
we're not a
Dread
pirate band.
Crew. I know. That's
It's going to
what
be Dread Crew.
Yeah, it's going to be Dread Crew. They're going to be way more awesome. They're going to have like 18 accordions, like being played by one guy.
Yeah. God, they're fucking good. It's so annoying.
Oh, Reese, goddamn.
It's
Fuck
so
that
good.
guy.
Oh, man.
All right.
All right.
I got a list of rodeos in
Thank you.
Los Angeles.
Oh, there's a
Yeah,
whole
but
bunch
there
of
you
them.
go.
We need a big one.
And rodeos in
They're
Los
big.
Angeles, he's not getting his ass kicked here.
Yeah.
No, he
Oh,
will.
like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
no,
like costume.
No, he will 100% get his ass kicked.
Oh, that'd be
At a
awesome.
rodeo in
Riverside.
Southern California?
No,
Riverside.
you will
Oh, okay,
get-
Riverside. That's
Yeah.
barely
Oh,
California.
dude, tomorrow
No, people take that shit really
on
fucking
Cinco de
seriously.
Mayo.
It's good. It's
No.
you're going to take some time.
Just one.
I don't have a costume yet,
No, we're gonna do this.
but it's going to happen.
I'm telling you,
I have
we'll do a
jobs.
tour to Banff.
Yeah,
Actually,
no,
I think
It's
I have all
awesome.
the things required for that. I don't have.
yeah.
The massage parlor is on top of a mountain. You have to take a take a tram up there.
You're the
Wait,
only
is
one.
it outside?
Can I plan your outfit?
No, but there's hot springs there.
because I have it all planned.
I've had a massage by a hot springs before.
We should do the one in Riverside because my sister's
Yeah.
a nurse at a hospital, so like it'll be very quick entry.
Is there a good massage parlor there?
Probably.
I'm sure there.
I'm sure there's massage parlors. I don't know if there's actual massage parlors.
Wait, this is
want-
Riverside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about actual
No,
massage.
can you have those furry chaps? Those ones that are like all
Wait,
the
what-
fur.
what chaps?
You know, like they wear in the old school westerns, like
The
that
ones
are like.
the
It's
cow
like
one.
leather, but it still has
Yeah,
hair on it.
they
yeah,
actually
yeah.
look like yak or something because they got so much.
Gosh, that's amazing.
And then you wear like the zebra Spanx that
And no
cheerleaders
pants.
wear.
Terrible.
Chaps with no pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
thing.
No,
No,
for sure.
I know it's a thing. I know it's a thing, and
And like the cartoon $10
I
hat.
will 100% go all the way down
someone
this
who-
rabbit hole. And you all know I will.
I know you will. That's why I'm planning
That's why
out.
I'm trying to stop it now. Because as someone who's performed and done rodeo stuff, like in the past, like these places are, like people are hardcore about this shit.
What you need to
and
do.
then-
And if they think you're mocking it,
need
they're
to-
going to be really upset.
Dude,
And they're badass people. Like they are very strong.
You need to cosplay Jeff Goldblum from Buckaroo Banzai
Yes.
Across the Ages.
Oh my god! Holy fuck, yeah!
but then you go
fuck.
with, you're the one that's
movie.
lassoing people and then the other people can.
No, that's not going to happen. I'm never even get to
No, but
lassoing.
if you don't even have to.
I'm
Like,
going to be walking around and people
Yeah.
are going to lose their mind.
yeah. No, we got this.
Especially when you're walking away from them
Yeah.
with your chaps with no pants.
So
All
thank
right.
you for Isaac in Texas. All the stuff you
thank
said
you,
was
Drill
super
88.
nice.
Now I really have to
Yeah.
do this thing, don't I?
And it's awesome.
Yes.
It's always awesome to hear that like the bullshit we spew out actually helps people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of us just laughing and drinking.
Yes.
Not this last part, probably.
No.
Oh, yeah, don't do this. Whenever you do.
But if you see a news story go viral about some asshole who got his ass kicked at a rodeo for wearing assless chaps, you will totally be like, I know that guy.
all chaps are
chaps
assless.
Right, but you usually wear.
Did we read the PS?
Yes, we did.
I did.
Okay,
I did,
cool.
yes.
All right.
Yeah, usually you wear pants under it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I own chaps. I know this.
That's so
I
awesome.
don't believe you. Prove it.
Yeah.
Wear them at the next game.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'll run a cowboy game.
I want to wear jodhpurs.
I have two
Oh, yeah.
Stetson. Stetsons are nice.
That'd
cowboy
be
hats, if you don't
super
know.
awesome.
I have a Stetson.
Oh my gosh, there's
Mine's
a
buffalo hair.
there's a store by my old house
Yeah.
that sells Stetsons and accordions, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Those are the people that will kick your ass at the rodeo.
I know.
Those are the
That's
people.
totally more badass than I am.
They also might be like a lot of hardcore mariachi guys. Might go
Oh no, that's what it is. It's a mariachi store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
because
All right.
they buy the fuck out of Stetsons as well.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yay.
really great hats.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
And they go through like everything. They have had horses like step on them.
My
and you can just push them back.
My
and they're
fair
badass.
my fair hat is a Stetson that's been reblocked.
Yeah.
Oh.
The like
Really?
tall
Yeah.
domed
Just
hat.
push the top out.
Yeah.
That used to be
Really?
a Stetson.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
It
last.
got
That's a great
completely
hat.
fucked up,
Yeah.
and then
But you've had that hat and costume for a long time.
8 or 10 years. Yeah. That hat, the black one, is only 8 or 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
Really?
But the costume is older than that.
You didn't get remade. It's like the same.
Like I think we're at
The
the
costume?
old Rogue Street stage when you first came up with that one.
No,
I think right.
No, that was the one. The old one was another couch costume that had the panes in the pants. I
Yes.
still have that
Oh,
costume.
oh, okay,
I have
okay.
to fix it because the where you button the waistband, it's so old. The thread rotted off of the
Wow.
leather pieces.
Wow.
So I have to restitch it. But I can. I actually still fit in that costume. God knows how. But I still, and that's a gorgeous costume. That's
Yeah.
the one that has the
That's pretty.
paned sleeves and the paned pants.
Beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful
Yep.
costume. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Thank thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 18 of Happy Checks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
My name is Gina.
And this is Tabby.
Thank you very much for joining us. And what do we have on Sunday? We've got
Demigods.
And on Monday, we got Monster
Monster
Hearts.
Hearts.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, we have
Nothing.
Fuck All.
Nothing.
And
Fuck
on
all.
next Friday, we have the show again. So
Yep.
come and join us.
And
Also, go
tomorrow
ahead.
we've got our GURPS, our Darknet online game, starting at
Yes.
12:30 Pacific time tomorrow.
Yeah!
With Mook and Bill and Elsbeth from the UK and
Tyler.
Tyler from Northern California.
Yeah.
The
That's
West
an awesome
Coast Guru of
cast.
GURPS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mook!
Mook.
The West Coast
I
Guru.
said that already.
West Coast Guru of GURPS.
Yes. That.
All right. Thank you very much. Come to fair tomorrow. Say hi.
Yeah, do the thing.
Buy me a beer. Thank you very much. We'll leave a song.
Bring $13.
We could do with less burping. Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebag song. Oh, whiskey, you're the devil, you're leading me astray. Over hills and mountains into America. You're sweeter, kinder, decenter, you're spunkier than Tay. Oh, whiskey, you're my darling, drunk or sober.
So now, brave boys, we're on the march and off to Portugal and Spain. Drums are beating, banners fly, and the devils are home will come tonight. Oh, love, fare thee well. With me tithering idle doodle da me tithering idle doodle da me rakes fall to the laddie. Oh, there's whiskey in the jar.
Oh, whiskey, you're the devil, you're leading me astray. Over hills and mountains into America. You're sweeter, kinder, decenter, you're spunkier than Tay. Oh, whiskey, you're my darling, drunk or sober.
Well, the French are fighting boldly, men are dying hot and coldly. Give every man his flask of powder, his firelock on his shoulder. Oh, love, fare thee well. With me to the riddle doodle da me to the riddle doodle da me writes full to a laddie. Oh, there's whiskey in the jar.
Oh, whiskey, you're the devil, you're leading me astray. Over hills and mountains into America. You're sweeter, kinder, decenter, you're spunkier than Tay. Oh, whiskey, you're my darling, drunk or sober.
Says the mother, don't you wrong me. Don't take me daughter from me. For if you do, I will torment you. And after death, me ghost will haunt you. Love, fare thee well. With me to the idle doodle da me to the idle doodle da me rightful to a laddie. Oh, there's whiskey in the jar.
Oh, whiskey, you're the devil, you're leading me astray. Over hills and mountains into America. You're sweeter, kinder, decenter, you're spunkier than Tay. Oh, whiskey, you're my darling, drunk or sober. Oh, whiskey, you're the devil, you're leading me astray. Over hills and mountains into America. You're sweeter, kinder, decenter, you're spunkier than Tay. Oh, whiskey, you're my darling, drunk or sober.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.
Bum, 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 bum.
Go away, Baton.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?
I can't believe these men may control the fate of the Middle East.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.